All right. I'm hoping that the sound works. All right. So I am live. I believe I am live. We are going to get started today. So today I'm cooking breakfast. We say hello. Hello, everybody. Let me move it out. Hello, everybody. I got to figure out how to bob and weave in there. Hello, everybody. Um, Cooking breakfast today. This is going to be interesting because I am making sausage. I'm making sausage grits. I wanted to make eggs. Why you say wow? You don't like grits, one? Well, you eat oatmeal. It's not that different.
Why?
It's not that different, Pooh. It's very similar. So I'm making grits, good Southern grits. And grits is not a bad thing as long as you eat them um, in proportion. You don't eat too much. Grits will do you in. They'll do you in. So today, myself and Queen, we were thinking about is this Queen? It is. Okay. We were thinking about talking about Nature Boy and young people, and so it's worth talking about because everybody's gonna have a teenager one day, and teenagers are in a strange place. Teenagers, they have their own mind, and they can easily be influenced. And how do I know? Because I taught high school, and that's just a reality. That's just a reality that they can be heavily influenced. And so you really do have to watch your teenagers. I taught high school for almost 20 years. And what's funny is parents don't actually know their kids the way they think they do. Uh-oh, my earphone is tripping. I have to get a new one. This is crazy. I don't know what's up with these earbuds. They seem like they're charged, but then they're not. Maybe I did mess around with getting too cheap of earbuds. I'm not paying no $100. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm trying to figure this out. All right, trying to get my earbud working. These grits gonna pop on my face. Better be careful. It says guest, private chat, backstage. Queen, I should be able to pull you up. Why? Age. I never did that before. All right, Queen, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Were you back there for a long time?
Mm.
I didn't know how to do it. I never pulled nobody up. I just saw a number one and it said guest. So
Oh boy.
I'm having, girl, I messed around about these earplugs. I thought I was slick and smart. Uh-oh, these grips popping on me. Wait a minute. Hold up. Hold on. Hey, hey. I have to move that over. Calm that down. I got to get my earbuds together. Okay, I'm going to try this one. Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to disconnect from this one. And I'm going to connect to this one. Where is it? Okay, let's see. You hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Child, I be struggling. I'm trying so hard to be cheap, I guess. I got four pair of earbuds. I be struggling. Anyhow, how was your day today?
I'm still in the bed. Mm-hmm.
But you getting that queen treatment, child. You getting that queen treatment.
Yeah, I want my foot to stop hurting.
I know. I had my back go out one time, and I mean, I never knew how important back muscles were until that happened. I thought it was, girl, I thought it was a good idea to go to Cancun, right? I'm in Cancun on vacation. Oh no, the next earbud went out. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? You cannot be kidding me. Got to be kidding me. What is wrong with these things? Cannot be serious. All right, let me try a different one. Hold on a second. These are trash. These are straight trash.
Mm.
Hopefully this will work. Okay, that works. If that don't work, I'm just gonna fall out. But anyway. Okay, so yeah, I had the nerve to go to Cancun. I went to Cancun and thought it was a good idea to drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the pool in the hot sun, having a good old time. And I had a scheduled massage, hot hot rock massage. Went and
Mm-hmm.
had the hot rock massage. Child, alcohol and hot rock massage do not mix. They just don't mix. I found out the hard way. I went back to the pool after the massage and proceeded to sit my ass there in that hot sun. And next thing I know, I think it was probably about the next day. I woke up that morning, could barely stand up. Wherever they had put that heat, it dehydrated all the muscles in that area. No
Mm-hmm.
water and none of the muscles. Child, you talking about somebody who was pathetic was me. So
Oh
I
wow.
have been there. I have been there. I know what it's like to lose that mobility. All the stuff that should just be easy and simple, it don't mean much. You realize how much once you get in that situation. How much you
Mm-hmm.
lose everything. Yeah. So I understand. So today I am going to be cooking breakfast and I'm gonna make some cookies and I'm also going to make kale salad and some apple and raisin snacks. This did not go well. This stuff is hard. So these are two things I was experimenting with. I had this book called How to Cut the Sugar, and they got this stuff called Swerve. You ever used Swerve before?
Queen.
Can you hear me?
I couldn't before.
Okay, what you
You
say?
just you. Now, I asked you, have you ever used Swerve before? Swerve.
What is that?
That's a sugar substitute.
Oh,
Okay, that's a sugar substitute. And then I got this other one called sucralose. Sucralose.
oh, okay.
And I haven't heard the best thing about this. And it's
Mhm.
kind of like one of those things you got to pick your poison, you know? You got to pick your poison. You want a regular sugar? You want brown sugar? You know, agave, like honey. They all have different, you know, uses, I guess. You ever experimented with sugar substitutes or no?
I tried it and then I said, I'm if I want sugar, I'm gonna just use sugar.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at. You got to just kind of, you know, in moderation. It's really, for the most part, to me, about moderation because some of these sugar substitutes, other than baked goods, they pretty much suck outside of baked goods. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. They're cool with baked goods. But anyhow, yep. So tell me your background. 'Cause today, y'all, we're gonna chat about uh Nature Boy and the prevention of young people falling into the hands of people like him. So tell me a little bit of background on your exposure and how'd you come across Nature Boy online only.
Nature Boy was just another one of them Negroes that popped up in the conscious community.
And you saw him online.
Yeah, he was online talking about his way of life and all that stuff, and I didn't really pay him no mind because he reminded me of like King Noble and all them other folks that came before him. So
Hmm.
I was just like, whatever. It's just another one.
Right. So, audience, Nature Boy, little background. A lot of people came across him on either YouTube or what was the other thing they was on? They was on. Oh, I think I gotta turn my. Hold on one second. Okay. Nature Boy came on. I had to turn. Make sure my nobody can call in right now. Nature Boy was on Bigo, I believe Instagram as well as YouTube. But YouTube was his primary, I guess you would say, source. So y'all stay put. Audience, stay put. You want to hear this. And so Nature Boy, he decided that he wanted to be like a guru. And he created this group called Carbonation, which is basically his own personal cult. And he would basically change. Hey, hey, I see you. Hey, DDS, what's up? What's up? It is what it is. Hey, hey, salute. Hey, everybody. And so basically, he was trying to create his own cult. I don't know that he started out that way because you have people who have what you call intentional communities. You know, an intentional community simply is a group of people who come together for a common cause. They can be echo people, they want to live natural, that type of stuff. But
Yeah, that's what he originally was, and then he turned into a cult.
mm-mm. And he got real evil once he got to Atlanta. He was probably already evil, but he really showed his colors when he got to Atlanta, for real, for real. So, long story short, this group started, and the idea was for them to go abroad to other countries. HBIC Room Shaker said, "Hey, Queen."
Hey, Room Shaker.
And so he started going to other countries. He then went to Costa Rica. They went to several countries, a lot of it in Central America, Mexico, and everywhere he went, he basically would get new people, new members to come. And when you came, you basically had to give up some money, like 10,000, 15,000. He had one cult member who gave him up to $100,000 of a life insurance policy of his family member. So, in order for you to come and stay with this cult, you could not have a job. You had to pretty much focus on the knowledge, which is basically him talking constantly. He made all the rules. He called himself a chief, and he likened it to a tribe. And he was the ultimate source of all knowledge and power. And you will not defy him or tell him what it is or what it ain't. You don't have no voice, no opinion. Whatever he says goes, period. So people say he was basically a cult leader, and he was. And they would move around when things got hot or something didn't go right, they would move around. But what he did in the process of him being a cult leader is he had members that would come and go, but he was documenting his whole experience with this cult and him abusing them. He was at one point saying he was a polygamist and he could have as many wives as he wanted, and he would assign people to a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They would call them directs or something. And then he would tell them, you can't be with this person. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. What's so sad is that I think about 10 kids, 10 children have been born out of this cult. I didn't realize how quickly, um, a cult could literally be born. I mean, it only takes 9 months for a child, right? And so there are about 10 kids that came out of the carbonation cult. Members having kids with members. It's really crazy when you think about it. So that's the history of carbonation. And most recently, after he is documenting, oh, and I forgot, they think that they're supposed to fundraise money off of the public. So you had these regular, everyday people who were literally taking their hard-earned money and sending it to Nature Boy. He was very abusive and egotistical and low down. And one of the things that was interesting is he would always change the rules. Only he knew the rules. The rules would change depending on his behavior. I mean, his feeling. One minute they're Muslims, then the next minute they got to be. What else did they go through? You remember? They were Egyptian. You remember seeing any of the other iterations?
I don't know what all they was. I just know he just got more crazy over time.
Yeah, yeah. So he would tell them different, like, paths that they need to participate in. So these chicks are dressed like Muslims for a minute, then next thing you know, they looking like they Hindu. And I mean, whatever that he said, they would just go with it. And they tried to be vegan, vegetarian, but one of the things that we realized is he was just starving them. He was just starving them. They could only eat once a day. They couldn't eat unless he ate. They control the food. And people said that Tyler Perry actually got that show, what is it called? Ruthless, inspired by Nature Boy. That's what people say. Now, I don't know if that's true.
Oh
I
wow,
don't
that
know
would
if
be.
that's true, but that's what they say. Huh?
I said that would be interesting.
I mean, it looks so similar. So similar. And Nature Boy does have Georgia roots. Excuse me. Yeah, he got Georgia roots. So people have said that that's where Tyler Perry got that that idea from. Now, only he knows if that's a fact. Maybe somebody need to ask him that. What made you come up with that? No black people really have ever done movies about cults. That's kind of unusual when you think about it. I can't think of any black movies featuring cults. I can't think of one. So yeah, but that's the background of Nature Boy. That's the background. So as of yesterday, y'all, out of all that abuse and stuff that he did to those people, out of all of that, his trial for grape and holding someone, what is the word? Imprisonment and revenge, PORN. That resulted in him going to trial. And he was convicted yesterday, y'all. Nature Boy was convicted. I was following that quote online. A lot of us were. just out of sheer like could not and just disbelief, just sheer disbelief. Not even entertainment, just like I can't believe this. And I just think the world wasn't ready for online activity. That's something that our government and media is gonna have to think about. When a cult appears, what do people do? Do you just let them sit there and thrive when you see them um, doing harm to people? You know what I'm saying? Is there something that can be done? And he was in other countries. He was in many other countries. So how do you regulate that? But they was using American money and American processing to get that money. And not only that, they were using American media platforms like YouTube. So what do you think? I mean, Queen, do you think YouTube should have stepped in or could have? Not should, but could.
No, ain't nothing you can do about people being in cults. He ain't the first cult to ever exist. Cults existed way before the internet.
Online too?
He wasn't an online cult. They just was showing their business online. You can't do nothing about the
That,
people unless they breaking the law.
that's true. That's true.
Just like well, who had that cult? That man David Koresh had that cult in Waco, Texas. It wasn't nothing they could do to them people unless somebody went and reported and said something was gone. But most cult people are brainwashed and they go with groupthink and they don't go tell it until after something done happened. Just like with Dr. York and all of that stuff that happened with him.
Hmm. And I remember being that I'm in Atlanta, I remember when I was going to college, I'd go down to Five Points MARTA station, and there they would be. They call themselves the night what was it called?
The new
The
Wabians.
New Wabians, yes, New Wabians. They call themselves New Wabians. They always wear like black, and they'd be standing down there at Five Points with these little tiny books, trying to engage people. And most of them were young. I don't remember ever seeing anybody older, and that was striking. Like how y'all ain't got no older people at all in y'all group. But I think that's just because older people had priorities, and who's gonna just drop their life? Who's gonna drop their life, their kids, their husband, their career? Who's gonna drop anything? You gotta get young people, and that's kind of what Nature Boy did. He thrived off of young people. It's hard to get an old food for a cult. It's not easy. I don't think so. But what do you think is the reasons why people, particularly them black folks, do you have any thoughts on that? Why they was attracted to a cult? What you think?
Attracted to, I don't think they was necessarily attracted to the cult. I think they was attracted to the structure that he was providing, and a lot of them didn't have good relationships with their family, so it was a way to have a family.
Hmm. He did provide a lot of structure. I mean, I did note that. I mean, yeah, structure, yeah, because it was like high levels of control. Like this man, he told them when to eat, what to eat, when to cook, when not to cook. He had all kind of rules and regulations when they could sleep, where they could sleep, when they could talk, when they couldn't talk. Um, he even named them. For those of y'all who are familiar with this code, he even named these people. I saw him on Sarnetta's channel. Yeah, yeah, he was on Sarnetta's. And a lot of people are going to have to feel ashamed because they gave him audience. A lot of people entertained him thinking it was just entertainment. And I think he's done way worse than the RAPE. You know what I'm saying? I think he's done way worse. He's done a lot of psychological damage. He has a lot of families. He broke their heart. The one wife he had named Ilana. Oh shoot, what's her name? Velvet. We'll just call her
Hey
Velvet.
Josh.
Eliana. Yeah, her name is Eliana. Beautiful girl from New Orleans, or at least Louisiana. And he just tried to break her online, and they ended up having a daughter together. But I have to tell you, when I look at that whole thing, I realize how reckless young people are or can be. Young people can be brilliant and amazing, but they can also be extremely reckless. And um, those kids wanted structure, but they were very reckless. And it's crazy because he had absolute mind control over these kids. And I call them kids because he was already like 40. I don't know how old he was, but when I started watching, he was already 40. And most of them were like 18, 19, 20. You know, they were young. And they was looking for somewhere. I agree with you, Queen. They was looking for a family, looking for somewhere to belong. And he gave them more structure in a little bit. He definitely did that. I'm making grits, y'all. Give him a lot of structure. Hey, Josh. And so that's the thing, you know, that idea of structure. If you don't give it to your kids, they'll find it somewhere. They may not even want it from you, but they still want structure. Let's taste this and see does it have any. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. My hot sauce injected sausages are hot. Oh shit now. Oh shit now.
So it worked.
I said my hot sauce injected sausages are hot. Which
I
had to
said
eat?
it worked.
Oh, nice. I'm sorry. What you say, Queen?
I said so it worked.
It worked. They're spicy. I'm happy about it. Yeah. So I'll show y'all. I just injected my hot sauce. My sausages. I injected them with hot sauce. Let me see if I got my injector. It looked really violent, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. It looked extremely violent. It looked extremely violent. But this is the injector. Me and my husband, we bought this, and so we injected it into the sausage because we don't eat pork. I'm former Muslim, so I have stuck to some things in Islam, Al Islam, and that's one of them. I do not have pork in my. And I live in the South, and in the South, it is very difficult to find sausages that don't have pork in them. And the company that I was going to for hot leek beef sausages, they decided they wasn't gonna sell them no more. They only sell regular beef. So I said, well, I guess I got to make my own hot beef sausages. So I injected the Texas heat and spices inside, and I just cooked it to make sure that it actually worked, and it did. It's spicy. Okay, so I'm about to make some chai, and I use this cardamom. It's called Wag Bakiri Indian chai, and I put like four. So I'm telling y'all how to make chai if y'all don't know how to make chai. You get it from the Indian restaurant. I drink chai every day, like literally. um, so you put milk in it halfway, and then put water the other halfway. It is a delightful thing. It has cardamom flavors in it. It's so good. I love chai. Chai is like my Starbucks, right? How most people have Starbucks. But yeah, that
Hmm.
structure part, that structure part is something else. And then you put the other half water, and then you add however much sweetener you want. So I put it in the microwave. I put it in the microwave on 3 minutes. Oh, you got the trial. Oh, I love it. I love it. Go ahead, sis. Turn it up.
A guilty verdict on all charges
There you
against
go.
an alleged cult leader accused of raping a follower who tried to escape. Good evening. I'm Russ Spencer.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Jurors in DeKalb County came back with 5 guilty verdicts against alleged sex cult leader Eligio Bishop. But he wasn't even in the courtroom to hear the verdict.
Fox 5's Tyler Fingert has been following this trial since the beginning. He joins us now with a closer look at that verdict and the sentence Bishop will face. Tyler?
Why he wasn't in the courtroom?
Honey, he decided he was going to cut a food towards the end because it wasn't going well for him.
Hmm.
So they found out that the judge on Tuesday had become positive for COVID. That don't mean nothing. But he decided, even though he's God of the universe, that he felt like he would be at risk by being in the same courtroom with her. So he wanted to be somewhere else. And not only that, he tried to fire his attorney. They didn't give this dude a free attorney, child. He can't afford one. They didn't give him an attorney. And all of a sudden he said the attorney ain't good enough. And he wanted to fire him. So they had that problem. So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, Russ, good evening to you. Alleged cult leader Eligio Bishop is now a convicted rapist. And just moments ago, the judge sentenced him to life without the possibility of parole.
I understand that you all have reached a verdict. Is that right?
After about 6 hours of deliberations, a DeKalb County jury found alleged cult leader Eligio Bishop guilty of all 5 charges.
6 hours, that's all it took for them to convict him for life.
Uh-huh.
Okay, 6 hours. Let's go.
He faced, including rape and false imprisonment.
Guilty.
The jury found Bishop raped a former group member as she tried to escape the alleged cult Carbon Nation and then posted revenge porn of the woman online. Bishop wasn't in the courtroom for the verdict because of COVID concerns, but watched from the DeKalb County jail and let out an audible noise before the judge ordered his mic off.
All right. Go ahead and mute courtroom C, please.
A woman who has covered the group online for years believes the jury got it right.
I believe that it's a just verdict. I believe.
Who is she? I need
The
to go.
T. I bet that's the T. I don't know. No, that's not the T. I don't know who that is. That'd be good to know.
That the courtroom today was very quiet and somber.
Following the verdict, Judge Stacey Heydrich moved right into the sentencing hearing where Bishop's victims testified. He appeared to make fun of them.
He said my soul belonged to him, and there was absolutely no saying no to him.
You were on high. Now you're a prisoner, but you.
He look crazy. Yeah.
He is crazy.
Bishop then addressed the judge.
I forgive you. I forgive you, and I still love you.
What?
Nut. Nut.
Now he forget a judge.
He's in shock. He don't know what else to do. His ego is broken. In that moment, he just he don't even know what to do. His ego is broken. He really believes that stuff like I'm gonna be free. I am the earth of what did he say, the chief of the earth plane. He really believes that stuff about himself, you know, and he really thought he was gonna get away with it. He really did.
That's crazy.
Yes, child. It is crazy. But I watched them, I don't know, I guess they've been on YouTube for probably about at least 4 years, like strong. And I watched it for about them 4 years. And then I just got to a place. I got to a place where I was just totally disgusted and I couldn't watch it no more. And the sad thing is that those kids would leave and then they would come back. You're like, yes, so and so finally left. And then it's like next episode, they sitting there again. You're like, are you kidding me? So this girl who got raped, she had been on her 3rd time leaving, I believe. Her 3rd time. And she came back and then she got her senses together and decided she wanted to leave again. And that's when it was a wrap. This sister's good. Let's see what she got to say. I have to, yeah, I'm saying.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you present to the court to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and spell it for the court, please.
Juliano Xavier Diaz. Juliano Xavier Diaz.
Okay. Mr. Diaz, how old are you?
21, sir.
Okay. And do you know Eligio Bishop?
Yes, sir.
How long have you known him?
For about 4 years.
4 years?
Yes,
so
sir.
Since you were 17 years old?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you meet him?
Well, it was a certain phase in my life where I was going through a lot and I was seeking answers. I was seeking answers to the universe. So I came across him on the internet. When I came across this information on the internet, it was a lot of information. But it was also a lot of hate, a lot of negativity from online critics, popular online critics. One of them being Chantel Coleman, who's actually here today, known as the T. She's one of Mr. Bishop's popular online critics, who's actually being
Right. Oh, yeah, we're getting it's non-responsive. Just answer the question.
He came in punching.
Hold on.
So the T is a problem, huh? The T is a problem.
Yeah, the T is a problem, not the cold, not the ill treatment and abuse of people and the financial abuse. None of that's a problem. It's just that she was covering what they was putting online in a critical manner, and that essentially was the problem. Y'all notice though that like he said he was looking for something to believe in.
He's 17 years
Looking
old. Where the hell his parents at?
right. And I don't promote religion, per se. But I tell you one thing, it brings some structure and some understanding. And then when somebody gets older, right? In my opinion, when they get older, if that doesn't make sense to them as adults, they can move faiths. People convert all the time. But I think people should at least give their kids some kind of moral, um, cosmological structure. We believe in God or we don't, or we have a moral code, something. And clearly the boy had nothing. So this is clearly nothing, like nothing, because this is what he found accessible. This is what he thought starving and doodling on the ground and not working. For some reason that resonated with him. This is what happened when children don't have structure and guidance. Okay.
If he needs more information.
They had to keep pausing him. I only got like somewhat into his testimony, then I was done getting ready. So now we're gonna resume.
Okay. So I met him through me going through a lot in my life, and I was seeking answers and guidance through the internet.
Okay. And so you were trying to add that there was some negativity online. Is that correct? Who was a negative critic you saw online?
Well, there's actually a lot of them inside of this courtroom today. Well, the main one that has been emailing the detectives to.
All right, stop. All right.
Stop.
Hold on.
Stop.
Okay, let me rephrase the question.
Can you guys approach for a sec?
Sure, Judge.
He like, y'all gonna get this defense up in here. If y'all ain't gonna ask me, I'm gonna hold it down for the God. Okay. So yeah, so I got like, I want to say 5 minutes into his testimony, and then I was, like I said, I was done getting ready, and then so now we're gonna resume the rest. But like while I was watching a little bit of it, trying to get myself together, he was trying to defend his God. The first guy, he did a really good job on his testimony. He just answered clear, concise questions, but this younger individual is very defensive, and he started to know him when he was 17.
When did you physically meet him?
March 29th, 2021.
March 29th, 2021. And yes, where'd you meet him at?
Puerto Rico.
Okay. And how did you get there?
I caught a flight.
Okay. Where were you coming from?
Chicago.
Okay. Were you a student in school, or what were you doing there?
Well, during that exact time, I think COVID was going on, so all the schools were shut down.
Okay. All right. And how did you fund the flight from Chicago to Puerto Rico?
Well, I had a job that was, the job closed down too, so they had to send me a check, a $2,000 check. Okay. And then I just used that check to pay for the flight.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So he with COVID. COVID helped him get to Puerto Rico with his job. What the hell your parents said, bro?
Okay. So
it'd be different.
When you got to Puerto Rico,
Queen.
Yeah.
Queen. It would be so different. I'm not saying it's like better, but it would be so different. Like a lot of coaches, they have people working too much. They're installing like work ethic. The Nuwabians, for example, them mugs was working around the clock. They was on it. They were active. They were not lazy. And I'm not saying it makes them better, but this particular cult, all they literally did was sit around like children and talk like they were at story time and play. That's all they did. They made music and they sat around just real lazy. It was really strange. And so they took a young man who had a job and made him useless. That's what I wanted to say. That's crazy.
Oh wow.
What was the living arrangements there?
The living arrangements were actually very beautiful. The men, we were just together. We were just together, united. Mr. Bishop, he actually wanted his own space. He actually ended up leaving to Atlanta in his own space while we were actually alone, not isolated, but we were alone instead of holding down the hub by ourselves. We were actually alone.
He just asked you about the living arrangement, so just answer the question, please.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Anybody, hold up, if there are any comments, you're gonna be kicked out of the courtroom.
And Judge, I'm going to try that, but I want him to have an opportunity to explain it.
He certainly can, but he has to answer the question. If it warrants explanation, that's fine, but we're not gonna go off on tangents that are not relevant.
Right. I think he's determined that it does warrant explanation. So you met Mr. Bishop, left and went back to Atlanta. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We were at the house.
Okay. And how long were you in Puerto Rico for?
Say one time.
How long were you in Puerto Rico for?
For about 6 months.
Okay. How many people were there with you?
About probably like 30. It was probably 7 men. 7 men.
Okay.
Yes.
Were there any women there?
The ones that had wives, the men that had wives, they were there too. Okay. Also, Mr. Bishop's wives were also there.
Okay. So there were women there as well.
Yes.
Okay.
But except for his main wives, they went to Atlanta with him.
Okay. Do you know who his main wives that went to Atlanta with him were?
The main wives will be Malia, and Afro, and Aya. That were with him.
Okay. The rest of the women stayed there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And they stayed there because they were not a main wife, or they were in a relationship with another guy?
Well, the thing about the whole tribe is we're spiritualists.
Not the tribe.
We're spiritual gurus. So we teach spirituality. So people come and join on a spiritual journey. Nobody is being recruited. Nobody is being persuaded to join. Okay. Like for instance,
Non-responsive.
Sustain the objection.
Okay. So let me re-ask the question. 3 women went to Atlanta with him. Does that sound right?
Same.
3, his wives went to Atlanta with him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you were mentioning that you don't recruit and things like that. People were just showing up?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So after you were in Puerto Rico for 6 months, where did you go after that?
After Puerto Rico, we went to Atlanta.
Atlanta? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so from the time that you got to Atlanta, did you remain in Atlanta or did you go somewhere else?
After Atlanta, we went to Philadelphia.
Okay. And when you say we, who was we?
The men. We went to Philadelphia to network. I did a few music shows.
Okay.
Really to network.
Okay. All right. And you did some music shows. What kind of music do you do?
It was a music video I did on YouTube for music. I just did a video. It was an open mic, like some type of open mic night.
Okay. And was Carbonation, were there music production happening within Carbonation as well?
Say one time.
Within the group, was there music production being happening as well?
Yes, sir. There was a lot of production.
Okay. All right. Were there albums that were created and produced?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were they placed on Spotify and other places?
On all streaming platforms.
Okay. All streaming platforms?
YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, really everywhere.
Okay. All right. So during the time that you were in March 20th, 2021, did you know Bill?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you know?
No, sir.
All right. And did you know her?
Yes, sir.
You knew
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember what name went by?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you know?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know what name she went by?
Yes, sir.
Okay. During the time that you were there, how often would you see?
Ms. Carter, well, she was actually Aaron Dixon's wife.
Okay.
She was Aaron Dixon's wife, so it was quite often I was seeing her.
Okay. Aaron Dixon was another member of the group?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when she was around, was she staying around Aaron Dixon?
For the most part, yes, sir.
Okay. And how often did you see her?
Well, when she had got to Puerto Rico, she had came to Puerto Rico and she wasn't there for long. She ended up wanting to leave again. Okay. So when she left, she ended up going back to Atlanta. Okay. So I didn't really see her. I seen her more when we was in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In March of 2022, were you at the house in Atlanta?
Yes, sir.
March 24th to be exact?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was the living arrangements in that house? How did people stay? How did they sleep?
Well, we ended up dividing ourselves into the living room, the dining room. Mr. Bishop had his headquarters. There was also 2 other rooms that were open and available.
Okay.
The middle room was it ended up being turned into like a studio / production room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And a typical day, how much production was done on a typical day?
It was a lot of production. Like it was music being done. It was videos being edited. It was a lot of acting that was being done. It was a lot of production.
Okay. And the acting would entail, was it dramatic acting, comedy? What kind of acting?
It was really all type of acting. It was like
Okay, Queen, stop it right there for a second. Queen, stop it right there for a second. Now, what's interesting is about this particular part is that this line of questioning, they're trying to give him kind of like an excuse to say that they were all normally in actor mode, that this is a form of entertainment. Nothing that you see online is really real. It's all scripted. So that if you see somebody getting slapped, or if you see Eligio saying, oh, I'm God, or I'll beat your ass, he threatened them online. I mean, he was talking to them like dogs. And so what the guy is trying to do, and I'm sure he regrets it as as a defender, is he's trying to say, like, everything you see, don't believe it. All this online stuff, not all of it is real. A lot of the stuff they're doing is just like full production and script. But everybody who's watching it knew it was real. But that's the story they're trying to hold for the jury. Like the jury's gonna believe, like, I'm not sure if they're gonna show it, but there's a scene where he gets really, really dark. He says, I'm not a man. I'm not a woman. I am a spirit. I am God. I'm like, ooh. Anybody who's watching that, when you saw him in the darkness and then there was some shades coming across, like the beams of light coming across his face in that particular scene, when you saw that, you're not normal if you didn't have a chill go down your back. He was growling while he was talking. It's like he was giving demon energy. It was very demonic, very dark, scary. So that's what this guy's trying to do. He's trying to lay out that most of what you see is just acting. It's not real. Don't judge it. But that's what I wanted to just, say that part right there. What do
Okay.
y'all think in the chat? Y'all say some of your thoughts. Go ahead, Queen. Sorry.
Right now, humanity is in a very special time right now, and we come with a very important message that needs to be delivered to humanity. So, us realizing that humanity is being distracted through entertainment and drama, we chose to meet humanity where they are and give them drama and entertainment.
Okay.
So collectively, I was actually there when we came to the collective agreement to do this, to do certain performances and say certain things to deliver the message within that performance. Spiritual improv is what we consider.
And was the purpose of that to get people to some shock and awe so they would pay attention to what you were saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So March 24th, 2022, was there anything, was there a party going on in the house or anybody over that day that you can recall?
I think we were having an interview, a silent letter interview. I'm not sure, but the most that I can remember that day is cleaning up. We were cleaning up. I was cleaning up. I was helping cleaning up the kitchen, and then we ended up feeling the energy inside of the house as if it was a meeting going on. So as we dismissed the kitchen, that's when we attended the meeting, and then the conclusion was we already came to a conclusion that she was ready to depart from the group.
Okay, so Miss, when you say she was there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the meeting, what happened after the meeting? How did you know she was getting ready to leave the group?
Well, it was discussed, and it was said that she was ready to leave and to make arrangements for her Uber to pull up. So after that was discussed, I was asked to get her belongings from the shed in the back. Okay. So I went to the back and I got her belongings, I got her paintings, I got her suitcases, and I organized them. I helped organize them right there by the door so she could leave.
Okay. Where
That's
was
what the
she
last
while
guy
you were
said.
doing all that? What was this?
I didn't really see her.
Okay.
I think she was right. She was in the living room. Yeah, she was in the living room. As a matter of fact, she was right there.
Okay. And where was Mr. Bishop? Did you see him?
I did not see him.
Okay. So when you came back in, were her bags, did you give them to her or you put them by the door?
She was standing right there by the door, so I remember coming in, placing them right there by the door, and she had certain paintings that I actually liked. She had a Pharaoh painting, and I remember asking her about the Pharaoh painting, and she said she wants to keep it. Okay. So I remember placing them right there by the door.
Okay. You wanted to keep the Pharaoh painting for yourself?
Yes, I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she didn't let you?
Yeah, she was like, she wanted it, so I'm okay.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. So after you did that, did you continue to stay there with her, or what did you do next?
After I helped organize her bags, I just went about my business and waited until she left. And once the Uber pulled up and she walked out the house, I thought that's when I went about my day, and she just no longer existed from my point of view. Like, okay, now she's going into the world, she's leaving.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Did you see her come back in the house?
I did not see her come back in the house, but I know she did. And when she came back in, it was
Hold on.
Or can you state how you knew she?
How does he know?
Because the Uber, when she had walked out to the Uber, she had ended up turning around. And then I was told that she came back.
No, you can't talk about what someone else told you.
Okay. You can't base your knowledge on
turns around.
Hold on. You cannot talk about what someone else told you. You can talk about what you saw and what you observed, but that's it.
Okay, so what I observed that the Uber was no longer there.
Okay.
And her bags were still outside.
Okay.
So I went outside and grabbed her bags because we're not going to leave them out there. And she has a history of coming and leaving several times throughout the years.
Okay. All right. And so
okay, Queen, can you stop it right there?
Yes, sir.
But you didn't see her yourself.
Queen.
Okay.
Hey, look at that. Did you hear what they said?
About the girl leaving and coming back?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's that Generation Z, that coming and going, that instability. As a parent, I don't know, what's your thought about a young adult coming and going? What's your thoughts about that as a parent?
You talking about back and forth to that coat?
Well, yeah, to the cult, but even just having a young person, that decide they want to play grown and then come back and forth. These are folks that, I should say that these are young people who gave the last of whatever money they might have had. Okay, they gave that money away, so they don't have money, most of them, and they're not working. So they either begging their parent for the money and getting it, or they're hustling, doing something they're not supposed to do to get it, or they just generally begging. He makes sure that when you leave, you don't have any money, because any money you bring in, it's got to go to him. He's the keeper of the money. So we're talking about young people who are broke, going to the cult, giving the cult whatever money they do have, and then They leave, and he tells them, "You can't take no money. You ain't taking nothing when you leave. We're not providing no plane ticket. We're gonna drop you off down the street, and you get there the best way you can, wherever you're going." And he washes his hands of them. And they've been through this multiple times. Those who decided to leave, they know what it is. Ain't nobody gonna, you know, say, "Hey man, here goes $15 so you can eat by 5 o'clock." You're gonna be sitting at the bus hungry. There's no compassion. When you leave, they don't give a F. You know what I'm saying? What happens to you? They're gonna drop you off or let you walk away, and they don't want you to talk to them if you're not part of their cult. So I'm just saying, as a parent, a 17, 18-year-old, you decide you want to get grown. Okay. You decide you want to go out into the world and do your thing. But what you're not going to do when you don't have a job and you don't have no structure and you're choosing that, what you're not going to do is pit stop at my house.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? As a parent, you're not going to do that. You're going to get you some stability, get you a real place, a real job. And if then you fell on hard times, then maybe, just maybe I can either help you or you can come back home. But that flexibility is one thing that all of them had in common. Anytime they wanted to leave, they could go stay with their mama, stay with their daddy, or somebody in their family because they mad. And once they start missing the structure and all that stuff, they go run right back over there. So that's what I'm saying. As a parent, how would you feel about a child who wants to play grown? And then, what you think?
A lot of them do that. Just like with that R. Kelly stuff, a lot of them left and came back.
That's true. That's true. I think parents don't serve the kids by doing that, though.
They
I really
don't.
don't.
Let nobody walk run in and out your house. Like, come on, that's
Hmm.
crazy. But the fact that they even in something like that, they already come from either they environment is unstable or they mentally unstable. Cause like, how you even let somebody? If your parents don't starve you, why you letting somebody else starve you?
Exactly. And then the crazy thing was, it was like this, what you call group think. So he was doing stuff like saying everybody's clothes is everybody's clothes, which look crazy to all of us. You know, you'll see Nature Boy with a woman's outfit on. He was like, he didn't took her sari, which is like a skirt. Y'all know a skirt, like a Hawaiian skirt. This mug and put this pink sari on his head. And you got males wearing effeminate clothes because everybody's clothes is everybody's clothes. Um, they did a lot of strange stuff. So you'll see one woman wearing a blue outfit, and then you mess around the rest of the week, you'll see other women wearing the same blue outfit. Like they don't even have the ability to have possession. Let me tell you one thing I learned at a young age. I know what's damn mine. Okay, that's a natural instinct to have possessions. He even took possessions. So think about how deep this is. He took away. He don't want you to talk to your family because your family is still part of this manosphere stuff, the matrix. Your family's in the matrix, so you don't need to talk to them because all your family can do is confuse you because they don't have the right knowledge of the master of the earth plane, which is Eligio Nature Boy Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to talk to your family. And several of these people left their children, honey. They left real children they already had behind. Several of these people do not talk to their children, don't check up on their children. He tried to shame them and say that if they had any compassion or wanted to reach out or visit their family, that they were weak, that they had not mastered self. Because everybody's child is everybody's child, and the child will be taken care of. It's not your personal problem. This is the kind of insanity these people were going through. But the natural instincts to eat, he stopped. The natural instinct to be clean. Do y'all know these folks wasn't taking baths? He said being funky was ideal because people are supposed to smell. That's what he said. This
What?
man took away every yes, child. They actually got put off of a bus, I believe. It was a bus or a plane. They got put off because they were stinking the thing up. They would go for like a week or two without bathing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they was living like animals. They was doo-dooing outside, even though they had a doggone toilet. He was teaching them to like go backwards towards like being primitive. And the ironic thing now, out of all that talk he did about the natural world and how we need to get back to nature, how about this bastard never, not one time, planted not one seed? Can you believe that?
Oh wow, they didn't have no garden.
Girl, no. All that nature they talk, they didn't grow not one single piece of food. Not one. Not one single piece of food. But he was taking them away from the natural thing, the possession, the bond between parent and child. He was taking them away from food. He even took them away from sleep. He would do his lectures all night long and dare you to close your eyes, dare you to look like you ain't interested. So them mugs is sitting up there looking like zombies trying to buck their eyes because they don't want to get in trouble for looking bored. They trying to look enthusiastic because they don't want to get punished. He would really, really show out on them really bad if they wasn't paying attention. And I saw one guy, he gave him a strawberry one day. He slapped the strawberry out the guy's hand and he told him, "But you never give me a motherfucking strawberry if I'm asking you for one." And he turned around and slapped dude across his face. They showed that in court.
Oh wow.
Sure did. Oh, honey, he was off the chain. That mug was, what they say, Django Unchained? That was a whole beast. He was a whole beast. But yeah, I would not let a young person just run in and out of my home and you just doing any and everything out here in this world. You think you're gonna come back to where I pay these bills and I have this structure and you just do any old thing in the world. And when all things don't go well, because you're not out here being productive, you get to come and hang out at my house until you find some more fuckery to do. You crazy? There's no parenting in that. None. That's my
Yeah, I
thoughts.
agree. That's crazy.
hmm Let's see what else.
Okay. You didn't see her go back upstairs or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. And so what did you do with her bags?
We just organized them right there. I left them right there. When we brought them back inside, we left them right there by staircase.
Okay.
Because I didn't know she was going to leave again because she has a history of leaving and coming back, like I said before.
Yes, sir. Had you ever witnessed any acts of violence between Mr. Bishop and women in the group?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen him punch or
Lies.
kick somebody?
No, sir.
How
Lies.
about surround them and body slam them or anything like that?
No, sir.
Had you ever
Lies.
seen him commit any physical acts of violence against?
No, sir.
Had you ever seen her with any bruises or anything like that that Mr. Bishop would have placed on her?
No, sir.
What about women? Did you see or hear Mr. Bishop direct women to hit other women on his behalf?
Not that I've seen, sir.
Okay. All right.
Lies.
During the time that March 24th, 2022, were there was a mixture of men and women staying there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you were for sure there that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you hear any scuffling upstairs or any fighting or anything that sounded like violence upstairs in the house?
No, sir. It was actually very, it was peaceful. The music, we went back to cleaning. As we went back to cleaning, it was just a peaceful night. Everybody knew about their business about the day.
Okay.
And this is why I feel as if Mr. Bishop.
All right, no. Your feelings are relevant.
This is why I know.
Stop.
You can't convert it to I know and I feel. The judge is not going to allow you to say that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God.
That must say he want to be the lawyer.
March 24th, 2022, April 7th, 2022. Were you interviewed by police?
No, I was not asked no questions, and I wasn't asked no questions.
Okay. Did police come and search the house?
They did.
Okay. Who else was there during the search of the house that you can recall? Was it a lot of people?
As far as the police?
No, not the police. Who was staying in the house when they came to search the house? Do you remember?
It was probably about, what was it, like 15?
Can y'all imagine how Malia gonna be when she get on the stand?
12?
Around that range.
Okay. All right. Do you know who the police questioned there?
No.
Okay. But they did question you?
No, I was not questioned.
Okay.
And this is why I have reason to
No,
believe.
no. Sir, stop.
Let's be
Stop.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm going to end this if he keeps
What the hell happened?
They're asking him direct questions. And in a courtroom, my understanding is that you're supposed to ask only what you are asked. Like you say yes or no, and then you give a little bit of explanation, like a sentence or two, because
Yeah.
they have a lot of questions. And this mug, he already got him agenda. He got it in his pocket of all the little slick stuff he want to say to get it on record. And so he's inserting it every time he gets a chance. If they ask him a question, he'll start to answer the question. Then he'll say one of them statements that he has pre-planned. That's he's basically trying to be the lawyer. And the judge is peeping it. She's like, hey, hold up, wait a minute. Nah, 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 nah. You going off script. That what you talking about ain't got nothing to do with what you just been asked. He just want to talk.
It's crazy. Like,
He ain't got no order. He been told, and this is the thing. They have order when it comes to violence. If you beat their ass, and you talk crazy to them, they respect you. But if you ain't beating their ass and you trying to just create the regular order of society, they don't respect that. And you can clearly see this on display. He looking like, well, you ain't gonna beat my ass, so if every chance I get, I'm gonna say what I want to say.
yeah.
But see, what he did though, him and Nature Boy, what they did is they made it hard for Nature Boy. He would have been able to get parole. He gonna be eligible for parole. That judge said after all I put up with, all this disrespect, y'all come in here with this courtroom, no parole for you, no chance. So he messed himself up, and not only that, arrogance. There's gonna be a strong, strong lesson of arrogance in Nature Boy's trial. Before he even got to court, they offered this bastard 7 to 10 years. They was gonna take off some of the heavy charges. They were giving him a plea deal. He was like, "Nah, I don't want that. I'm Nature Boy." Okay. So that was off the table. He said he want to go to trial. So when the judge first came on first day, she said, "Listen, you already messed up your 7 to 10 plea deal. You say you want a trial, but I don't feel confident in that because at this point you're looking at anywhere. I believe they said 10 to 30 years."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "As a judge, before you put yourself out there like that, I'm gonna need you to go with your attorney to the back room and have a conversation to be clear." I think she don't want a mistrial, or she don't want him to say he was insane or something else, or some escape later on.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "I need you to sit with your attorney. Y'all got 10 minutes to go deliberate and be sure that you want a trial because you already basically," she's saying, "you didn't screw it up by skipping over that 7 to 10 plea deal. You should take it." She's trying to say it, but she can't say it.
Right.
Nature Boy turn around in his arrogance. "Nah, I'm good. I don't need to talk to my attorney about nothing. Let's get on with the trial." She said, "Well, in that case, since you take it that way, I'm going to give you a court order from myself as the judge that you will get up and you're going to go in that room for 10 minutes. That's a court order." So she was letting him know, "You're not in charge. I am." So him and his attorneys skedaddled their little booties on into that room and they sat for 8 minutes and they had a discussion and came on out. Same thing. She said, "You do understand that you are up to possibility of life." And I think she said anywhere from 20 or something years to life. You do understand that if you go to a trial. He said, "Yep, I want a jury." She said, "Let's get on with it then." Girl, arrogant fool. What you think about that?
I think his ass crazy. Or maybe he the next Dr. York.
He very much mirrors Dr. York, very much so. But I don't think I think he's crazy. Like we say it in like a typical fashion. Like oh, that fool crazy. He has some outlandish bull F that he wants to do. But that mug is extremely intelligent. I just think he is wayward. I think he got some kind of narcissism and personality disorder. I'm sure that the therapists and stuff and psychiatrists, they could surely analyze him. But this mug, he doesn't understand power, or maybe his narcissism doesn't allow him to say, "Okay, maybe at this point I can read power. I can read power. I can say, okay, in this situation, I have power. Here's the limits to my power. In that situation, I have no power. That person has all the power." And this is why they have this, they have that. She's the judge, she's got the court, she's got the police, she's got me in a structured setting. I can't get away, I got shackles on, and I'm being judged. And there's a jury who I cannot control. I am probably in a humble position. He can't seem to evaluate any of this. He refuses. And I'm telling you, this man created his own destruction. We literally, for the last 8 days, we watched this man tear his own self down to nothing. We watched him tear himself down to nothing in his arrogance. It's really insane.
I mean, he wasn't that ignorant when he first started. So
Hmm.
that ego, and then if you ain't got nobody around that'll challenge you, or promotes to keep your ego in check, then
Mm. That reminds me of a conversation I had. I was doing a stream and I was talking about that. The best king is the one who has good advisors. Because if you don't have good advisors and all you got is yes people and people who kiss your butt and they go along with whatever foolishness you might want to do, checks and balances,
in the
those
microwave.
people ultimately lead you to your downfall.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who was a poet. He was actually on Def Poetry Jam.
Oh well.
This was back in the early 2000s. And he said to me that the best thing that an artist can do, a black artist, the best thing an artist can do is move away from your hometown. He said, don't ever, if you're a painter, a playwright, if you're a rap artist, a poet, whatever you do, visual art, sculptor, he said every artist needs to get out of their hometown. And I was interviewing him as a journalist. And I was like, really? So tell me more. And he was like, because you got your family, you got your friends, you got people who've known you and they're invested in your personal happiness. And because of that, they won't tell you that you're bad. They won't tell you where you need to grow. He said, you have to get away from people who know you. You got to get in front of strangers. You got to get in front of people who compete against you. And then you'll find out the truth about yourself as an artist. I was like, damn, ain't that some shit?
No, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Because your family don't want to crush your spirit. They don't want to be like, baby, I know you think you sound good, but actually you can't sing. Is your family really going to say anything? Ain't nobody saying in the chat. Y'all say something in the chat. We want to hear what y'all think. Thoughts, thoughts. Did y'all move away from your hometown? Did you get some truth, some growth from being around people who don't know you? That's why college is good. College is a good that does it. College does it. In college, you really get a feel for who you want the world to think you are anyway. Don't nobody ever know nobody really.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, college is the first time where it ain't your cousin and it ain't your teachers and your pastor and people who've known you since you were young. You got to get out here and prove yourself. And people take you on your deeds and they don't assume that you're worthy of nothing. And sometimes people in, small towns and stuff, they'll big you up so much, you be thinking you the shit, right?
Yep.
That's cool, but you might just be a larger fish in a small pond. When you get out here in the real world, that you thought you was an all A student, well, that's because your ass went to a rural school and the teachers and all that stuff wasn't that rigorous. Take your ass to the inner city and take that same school, your ass was a D student. It's so important to get away
Give me none.
from your original origin. It's so important. Can you see chat? I don't see nothing. Do you see anything?
In the chat?
Yeah. The last thing I saw was Josh W.
Yeah, ain't
Said, "Hey
nobody.
Queen." That was a long. Oh, they ain't saying that. Okay, I thought. Okay, okay. So yeah, that was that little bit. Let's see what else. They talking about it. Y'all who's
That's
not
all.
familiar, this is a nature boy trial. Nature boy trial. Okay. I'm sorry, Queen.
No,
Like a father figure. He keeps his students, make sure he motivates his students. He inspires his students. He inspires me. He motivates me to keep going, to stay strong.
And when he motivates you to come in here and tell him what he said, right?
No, he just motivates me to speak the truth.
Okay. Now, let's talk about when you joined the group. There were some rules, right?
Yes.
Now, you said you had a $2,000 check you got from your job, and that helped fund your fare to Puerto Rico?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the rest of that money you gave it to Mr. Bishop when you got here?
Yes, ma'am. It was just a pot. I just gave it to the pot. It was a donation from my heart.
Okay. Did you have any belongings that you had to sell before you got here or to the group?
Did I what?
Did you have any belongings that you had to sell before you got to the group?
No.
And any credit cards or anything like that?
No, I have no credit cards.
And as far as sleeping, if Mr. Bishop was up talking and teaching or having your meetings, y'all couldn't go to sleep until he said y'all could, right?
I mean, it's not that we couldn't go to sleep till he said that we could. It's just if we're in a classroom and the teacher is teaching, it's like, why would you want to miss out on a lesson that the teacher is teaching? Why would you be here? Why are you here? You're gonna miss out on a lesson. If we're in school and you're in class and the teacher is teaching and you fall asleep during class, isn't the teacher gonna tell you wrong? Pay attention to the message.
Okay. And as far as eating, y'all couldn't eat until he ate.
That's not really true because I've witnessed multiple times Mr. Bishop not eat. I've witnessed multiple times Mr. Bishop fast for 7 days while the rest of the members inside of the tribe eat as much as they want to eat. So that really isn't true.
Okay. When y'all were out in Puerto Rico or wherever you guys were, y'all couldn't use the bathroom inside, could you?
That's not true because we actually had an inside bathroom that was connected to a septic tank.
Okay.
So it's not that.
Go ahead.
So it's not that we couldn't use the bathroom inside. It's just we understand what the earth is and we care for the earth. And we understand that when you flush that toilet, it goes through a plumbing system to harm the waters of the earth, which is causing the earth to be harmed and destroyed. And that's when natural disasters occur. So us being naturalists and spiritual gurus, we like to live in tune with the earth and protect the earth.
And a part of being in tune with the earth was pooping in a hole outside, right?
I know it sounds crazy, but poop is not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. It's actually soil. When you eat a lot of toxins, you fill your body with these toxins and these parasites. And
can you imagine how it's smelling out there?
But it's actually soil and dirt that's supposed to be given back to the earth.
Okay.
But when we were inside the bathroom, it was connected to a septic tank. So if you flush the toilet, it's gonna get pushed through a septic tank and gets into the earth. So we were never not allowed to use the restroom inside.
Okay. And so when you released your soil into a hole in the ground, you were allotted 6 squares of toilet paper, right? 6 squares of toilet paper. That's what y'all got to use when you had to use the bathroom, right?
No.
No.
I don't know where you got that from.
All right. So Mr. Bishop, he defined the roles between the men and the women, right?
Define the rules as far as what?
Women being less than men.
Women being less than men. It's not that woman. Mr. Bishop never stated that. Mr. Bishop actually stated that women were actually equal in value. We are not equal in function. And you can clearly see that when you look at how our bodies are structured. We are all equal. We are all one. We just have different purposes. We have different genomes. We have different activated genes that make us who we are, that make us different from each other.
All right. And he told you all that if you left the cult, that outside would be hell.
No, not really. It's not a cult. It's not a cult. It's a tribe. For instance, me, I joined the tribe on my own free will, on my own accord. I'm the one that texted Mr. Bishop saying that I like what he's doing. It makes a lot of sense. I can feel it. I see the movement. And I wanted to join and be a part of the movement. You understand? So me doing that, what was the primary question?
Yeah. The question was, he told you that when people left the group, that outside was hell.
Oh, no. Actually, this whole realm, hell is a mentality, it's a state of mind. So when you are at discontent with who you are, when you are miserable within yourself, when you are depressed within yourself, this is when you are at hell. It's all a state of mind, it's all mental. It's the first correct law of principle, the law of mentalism. So here was like a moment that state of mind. You could, just because you're with us don't mean that you can actually be in a heavenly state. You could be anywhere you want to be and be in a state of hell because you're depressed within yourself, because you are going through a lot of situations that you don't have.
Boy, he laying it on good and thick, ain't it?
Honey, he had a story for everything. He reminded me of somebody over there in the red pill space. Got a whole story for the whole universe and history, all of it.
Oh wow.
And the interesting thing that he did is he talked about generational curses. He basically said that he could help them if they would allow him and they would submit to him. He could help them get past their generational curses, knowing that they come from dysfunctional families. He was saying that everything that your grandfather did to your, your great grandfather did to your grandfather, and everything your grandfather did to your dad, and everything your dad did to you, I can basically erase the karma of it so that
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to repeat and it will stop with you. But you have to stay away from everybody and everything. Everybody else is demons in the universe except us. That's basically what he taught them. We're not demons. But then at the same time, he would tell them when they wanted to leave, or they wanted to call their family, or they wanted to partake in something that he didn't want them to partake in, he would tell them that they were a demon in that moment. You letting the demons take over you. I see the demon in you. You a demon. You a demon. And that's how he would shame them. So when we talk about king of the SBE, shame, blame, and explain, Nature Boy is the king of SBE. He would shame you to the ground, child. If you see him, the way he would psychologically drag these people, it was impressive. This man is going to be studied. I mean, I don't think he deserves to be famous, but his theories and his practices, and I ain't trying to get into the occult, but we need to talk about that part. Did you know he was into occultism?
Yeah, everything he just said right now is occultic.
Yeah, and Nature Boy did a lot of spells. He did a lot of spells. Him naming people, that was the first thing. He decided to define people. So that was the first thing. And then in order to almost, I would say, enter people's spirit, if we'll put it that way. In order to enter people's spirit, one of the things that he would do is he would find out their deepest, darkest secrets. So they did this thing, and this is something that they do in Scientology as well. And there's a thing called Lexium. One of my friends, her foolish behind, she got into Lexium, and that's one of the first things they do. Is ask you all of these private, personal things. Like, to ask you a question: what are you most ashamed of? What have you done that you're ashamed of? And once you have those confessions, they use those things to that you confess to basically shame you and point out your vulnerabilities. Like Ia, she was a whore. Ia was a whore. And so I think he is very pretty if you see her. She was one of his wives. She is one of his wives. She's one of the ones still standing by him. Ia is very slender. She looks like she's very tall. Either she's just real skinny or she's very tall. But she looks like she might be 6 foot. And you could tell she would be a model if she took off all that shit and actually fixed herself up. She's very beautiful. But Ia has got, when I say shit for brains, that girl is slow. She's slow as hell. And she's very easy to manipulate. So being that she didn't have any real assets other than her looks, Ia was a natural hoe. And so wherever she came from, she confessed to being a hoe. And matter of fact, she had a couple times she had sold her butt, you know. And they believed that at points when they was in Mexico, because Ia disappeared for about 2 weeks, and they said she was staying in a hotel. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, she ran out of gas or something happened to her on the side of the road when she was in Mexico on her way. She drove through United States, through Mexico to get to Central America to get to them or something like that. And she had ran out of gas. And she narrated that she told some guy, "Hey, I need some money at a truck depot or something." And he told her, he said, "Well, hell, you suck my dick." I get you $20. And she was like, yeah, I did it. That's how much I wanted to come. I was like, wow, yeah, you just said that on like internet for everybody to know. Okay. These folk got issues, honey. They got issues. But yeah, he used occultism. He used words and spells. He was doing this thing where he repeats stuff over and over again. And in repeating it, it does become spellbound, Um, saying the same things over and over again. They're like incantations, incantations. He has so many symbols and different things. Like they put their finger, let me show you my finger. They put like their finger like this over their eye, you know. Um, that was symbolic for them in some way. The all-seeing eye, Ra, the ever-seeing eye, the 666, all this stuff. Like he had a lot of occult symbolism, spells, and I just want to bridge this to even Tyler Perry's Ruthless. One of the things that Tyler Perry's Ruthless does is it has one person cooking for food for everybody. And what they did is they infused a potion or medicine or drugs. There's something that they were putting in the food, and that was allowing people to be controlled. So what Nature Boy did is a lot of them got very skinny while they were there. They were on one meal, and that meal had to be vegan, vegetarian, most of the time raw, at least for a while. Then they just went crazy and started eating chicken wings and Mexican food. But at that time, they were getting very skinny. And on top of that, the one meal that they ate was always cooked by one person. And so people during this trial had said that it was important to talk about whether or not these people had been getting drugged, like mushrooms. What made them so incapacitated that they would just go along with all suggestion? So that may be part of the ruthless thing too, because there was one lady named Fiery. She was in charge of the food. So we still don't know if food was drugged. We don't know. They never covered that up, discovered that. But that's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts.
Okay. Let's see.
Proper answers to. So it's not that when you believe you want hell, it's just that with us, we hold a very healthy perspective. So you trying to turn your back and denounce us and join the online critics that's you believing into your lower self because now you're going against what we stand on, which is truth, morals, and principles.
Okay, just a couple more questions.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about social media.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bishop, back in March 2022, had a Twitter page. Yes?
Yes.
And nothing got posted to that Twitter page without his permission.
I'm not really sure about how he ran social media. I wasn't really running the social media. I was more so doing like the editing videos, working on the studio. So I'm not really sure how he ran the social media.
And you talked about Mr. Bishop being your God, your Lord, your Savior, all that, right?
The Messiah, yes.
The Messiah.
Is the Messiah.
The Messiah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you can't say no to the Messiah, can you?
It's not that you can't say no. Mr. Bishop never said Mr. Bishop puts everybody to be real and be themselves. That's actually one of the MODs, which is morals over desires, morals and principles that he teaches, transparency, which is you being your authentic self.
How
being
sad.
you. So whenever somebody was holding back, he'll feel it. Whenever like he will push people to speak their truth and be real. So he never said don't say no. He never said that.
And if someone said no, there would be consequences, right?
Not really. If someone said no, it is to be like, okay, elaborate on what's
Lies.
why you saying no.
Lies.
Put your ideas out there.
All right. Redirect.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. May he be excused.
Let him.
You said lies?
Yeah, that's a lie. Child, that's a lie. You mess around and do anything that man don't. I told you that guy tried to give him a strawberry and he turned around and pimp slapped him. I didn't tell you to give me a strawberry. That dude would go off about anything. Them folks was walking around there scared to death. Because at any moment, what he said yesterday was the rule. Today he might change his mind, and you mess around and he didn't express it to you. It's still your fault. It's still your fault. When he changed the rules and he didn't tell you, it's still your fault. He gonna pimp slap you and beat you up and all that other stuff. This
Oh
dude
wow.
was crazy. Oh yeah, honey, he was crazy. He would change rules mid. I mean, just for no reason. He would tell people, "You can't eat. You watch us eat. You talking too much. Don't eat today." Just stuff like that. Go get in the closet. And when he said go get in the closet, I've seen it. One girl, he tried to get them in some soldier like type thing. Like you stand up. He would have like certain words he would say, stand up, sit down, put your hand over your heart, this, that. It was like some kind of soldier training he was doing with them. And one girl was too slow. She didn't move in synchronicity with the other girl. They were standing in a line. And he told the other girl, he said, so and so, slap her. The other girl came and didn't even think. She just walked over to her, stood in front of her. The other girl didn't even block or nothing. She ain't try to fight back. She got slapped across the face. The other girl went, stood back in line like it wasn't nothing. So he had them so trained they would slap each other, punch each other. They crazy.
Wow.
Yep.
Him off the stand.
He may.
Also, Mr. Bishop
No,
was very
no,
maliciously prosecuted.
Hey, sorry.
No.
What did she just say?
Malicious
You know
prosecution.
what? He just lost his right to stay in the courtroom. Deputies, he can be escorted out.
Malicious prosecution.
All right. He is no longer welcome in the courtroom. Call your next. Who's your next witness, Mr. Booker?
I'm currently 25. Actually, I'm 26. Just made 26 in February.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. That's new for me, right?
Yeah. You're over a milestone now. You're like, I don't know what they consider 26, but you're at that point
Right.
past 25.
Exactly. Which I've, matured, over time. But living in New Orleans was pretty crazy. And it was
Hold on
not
one
my
second. Hold on
vibe.
one second, please.
The way that I grew up in my childhood.
Okay, so we just want to introduce this. This is Eliana. Eliana is his main wife, and he got her lured there when she was very young. She was with him the longest, just about than anybody. And he was very abusive to her. But more than anything, he told her that she had inner demons all the time because she, as a woman, did not agree with a lot of the stuff that he wanted to do, including forced polygamy. He told her that she needed to learn how to share him with other women. And when he wanted her to do other things with other women, she needed to conform. So they had a constant like battle. So that's his. They have one child together, and that's his main wife right there. There it is.
My mom and my dad's relationship was pretty toxic. So my grandmother, I have a lot of history and a lot of relation and memory from my grandmother raising me, which she always allowed me to go outside. She always let me go run into nature. I was always kind of like that child that was pulled from the bunch because I've 4 sisters and 4 brothers. So I was.
Were you a middle or?
I was. So the girls were born first. I was the 3rd girl that was born, and then my little sister and then my brothers came. But I was always pulled from the bunch because I was named after my auntie, which was my dad's sister. She passed away when she was an infant, and my mom couldn't find any other name to give me but that name.
So your real name is Velvet?
My real name is Velvet Gabriella. I was named after my aunt. And so my grandmother took a special liking to me, not any favoritism, because she treated all of us the same. But because of that dynamic, I was like that child, that special child in a sense. So that's why I have that memory. And the way that my grandmother raised me, that's where I felt like I got all of the love that I needed as a child and the nurture. But when my family got split up after some time, my mom and my dad got split up after some time, I stopped seeing my grandma, which stopped that dynamic between me and my grandma to continue to flow. And because I was the oldest, after my mom and dad got a divorce, because I was the oldest, I became the mother of my younger siblings.
Wow.
So I was like taking care of them, sending them off to school, doing their hair at 11. I started at 11 years old. A lot of people don't know that from 11 years of age up until 17 years of age, I was a mother.
That
Literally.
explains some things.
You know, and with that being the dynamic of my early childhood, I had no choice but to think like an adult. So it made me think about other things that a child wouldn't think about, like spirituality, you know, what's in the world. And my parents, because they had their own things going on, they weren't pouring into me like, you should know this, you should know that, you should, you know, it was other things that they had going on that they were dealing with emotionally that took away from raising me the way that I technically needed to be. And so with that being the case, I spurred off when I was 17. I ran away from home. And by the time I was 17, I actually was into major organizations in my community. There was a group called Rethink that I got into, and that was more of like a cultural, economic type of reform group. So I was like in communities, like talking to people like, we should be thinking like this, we should be living like this, you know, going to high schools and talking to the high schoolers, like, you should really focus on your education and XYZ and why it's important. And so I made a big name for myself within Rethink alone. They actually put a memorial of me. I wasn't even passed away yet. Wow. I'm probably it's still there. This was in 2015, 2016.
Wow.
A picture of me with a dissertation. Like, this girl is amazing, you know, at 17, 18. Following that, I joined an organization called Groundwork. That's global. That's like a more of an agricultural type of organization where I actually have went from different states in the United States because of this group to focus on economic development, you know, over the world. And so I was always into nature. I was always into agriculture. So by the time I decided to go to college, which I was like, in my mind, graduating high school, which I graduated alone, I graduated myself. My parents had no involvement with me graduating from high school because of the divorce, because of the dynamic, because of me running away. I pushed my family away. It was way too toxic for me. So when I thought about like what I wanted to do further my education after high school, I was completely over education because I'm like, these schools are not teaching me what I need to know. If you would have replaced this class with maybe agriculture or maybe with like me learning Spanish or something like that, you give me another opportunity, another avenue to learn through, maybe I could be better at school. But you know, I wasn't failing. I wasn't a failure. It was just that I felt like the schooling system wasn't giving me enough to work with, you know, to learn from. And so I was like, I don't know if college is healthy. I don't know if that's something that I want to do. And I've always heard stories of my friends and my other sisters and, you know, people that I knew saying that once they got into college and they chose a profession that they had to switch it and change it because once they started studying it and how the schooling teaches it to you, they're uninterested. So I'm like, why would I go invest my time? And then, you know, these are my thoughts at a young, you know. So by that time, 17 years old in the 12th grade, my parents run away. I'm constantly talking to the counselor. From 9th grade to 12th grade, I was always in the counselor's office, talking to the counselors like, I'm sad, I'm depressed. Like, this is crazy, right? But by the time, you know, that situation happened, by the time I ran away, my school pulled in my parents for a parent-teacher conference to talk about my emotional distress. And because I was so much into nature, I didn't know that there was a program. Like, I didn't know that you can go to school for agriculture. Like, I didn't know that. So I'm like, scratch school. I don't want to go to school. I just want to go live in nature. I want to go learn about nature. And my parents are looking at me like, yo, she's like, we don't know. Like, is she going to be a bum? Like, this is what I experienced in the 12th grade, sitting at a parent-teacher conference. You know, my family is like, they don't even know that you can go to school for agriculture. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
so there's a
right.
dynamic that's like out of the loop. So my teachers are so concerned about me.
The teachers didn't tell her she could go to school for agriculture. It sounds crazy. You muted.
I only got one.
I worked at an alternative school and I saw that a lot. These kids are given a cookie cutter curriculum and that's already like this is all we offer, this is all you can. If you don't have, let me just straight up, if you don't have a parent who from an early age has detected and given you a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things, okay, in my opinion, as a teacher, they put you at a disadvantage. By the time you get to middle school, you should be clear. If you have athletic skills, your parents should have fed whatever skills you have. If you have a skill or art at selling stuff, baking, computer technology, your parent painting or whatever it may be, putting stuff together, your parent should have started saying, "Oh, my child has a gift or interest," and started to feed that. So by the time you get to high school, your parent ideally would be saying, you know what, I think you will make a good so and so, or you probably could do X, Y, and Z. Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University, absolutely. She could have went to FAMU. So it takes a parent
She
who's
could have
very
went to Texas
engaged.
A&M. Shit.
You said Texas A&M,
Yeah, that's a whole agricultural school. That's all they do.
but see that go to show you how ignorant her parents are.
But
Her
what the
parents are
hell wrong
ignorant.
with the school?
I blame the school, but I'm telling you, as a person who was a teacher for many years, their whole thing is to figure out whether you're college prep or not. And if you're not college prep, they're not going to look to see what your skills are, your talents. Those counselors have a whole list of what 2,000, 3,000 students. They don't have the time and energy to say, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? And da da da. They may have like a questionnaire or something they give you, and they're going to do that in your senior year. That's it. They really don't guide young people. If you don't have a parent who's an advocate or a teacher, I had myself had students that I would say, hey, you need to look into X, Y, and Z. I'll give you an example. I had a student who was a really good writer. I'm not writer, drawing. He was always drawing. Okay. And I looked at his thing. He was so distracted um, from school because he was always drawing. And I said, how do I engage him as an English teacher? How can I get him to do these skills? I'm going to have to cater it to his drawing because these kids have already failed the regular high school. That's why they're with me. They're academic failures. So what I said to him is I said, I have a project for you. I need him to write an essay. I want you to tell me who it is that inspires you when it comes to sketching, like cartoonism. He did a lot of MAGA and anime. I said, who? He told me Mike Judge. And I was like, I don't know who the hell that is. He was like, I think he said it was either South Park or it was Family Guy. I'm not sure which one. But Mike Judge just happens to be the Cartoon Network here in Atlanta. So I told him, I said, I want you to do this. I want you to interview Mike Judge. He's not going to talk to me. I said, tell him that your teacher said that he needs to call you and interview you so that you can prepare for your career in animation. Tell him your teacher said. Honey, he called and talked to Mike Judge. He got through I told him as a journalist, you got to talk, you got to keep talking, call back multiple times, get your interview. That young man got that interview. He recorded it on tape. Mike Judge told him all the stuff that he wished he should have known, how to get into the field and da 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 da. He gave him his personal information. And he told him his whole story about how he became wealthy through animation and his whole journey. He interviewed him and then he turned around and he wrote his his essay on his interview with Mike Judge. This is what I had to do as a teacher because what you realize when kids have failed and they can't just do this cookie cutter thing, you have to figure out what makes them tick, what makes them excited. And that's the stuff. If it's music, if it's dance, you got to get them to present and do the work towards the passion. Otherwise, you ain't gonna get shit out of them, and that's a fact. So that's one example. And what else did you hear in there? Because I heard that the school system failed her, and I agree with you, Queen. Where the fuck was the teachers? Where was the counselors? I agree. No
I mean, if
excuses.
they having a parent teacher conference, then like, why the hell ain't nobody talking about agriculture and told her what colleges she can go to school for? Like she keeps saying, we didn't know, we didn't know, we didn't know. Somebody at that school should have told you. Like,
I agree.
That's crazy. I don't know
I
what her
agree.
parents doing that they ain't paying attention to their children, but okay.
Well, that's the next conversation. She's actually having emotional distress to the point where the school has to call and say, hey, let's talk about this. So once again, the family failure, that's the failure of the family, of the parents. You got the school, the institution, telling you how your child feels. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I am disgusted with the public school system for the most part. I'm a veteran teacher, and I am so appalled how the school itself is the parent. We got to cut that shit out, especially in the black community. We got to cut that out. The school is not the parent, but a lot of parents think that they are. Let me point to y'all right here. Y'all see this room right here with this curtain? That's a classroom. That right there, that's a classroom. I'm the teacher. I'm the teacher. They can teach her what needs to be taught on the curriculum and all of that, but I'm the teacher. Mother is always the teacher. Mother needs to be the first teacher. I would be appalled as a parent because I'm trying to figure out how in the hell do you have a 16-year-old, 17-year-old sitting in my face and they read on a second grade level. And you know what I asked the parent? When does this child read to you? Oh, he in high school. No, 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 no. I asked you, when does he read to you? You have to read to your child. Your child has to read to you. That's a lifelong thing. Until they get out of your house, they need to be reading to you. I'm sorry. I don't know who told people that reading and stuff like that back and forth is uh something only elementary school do. This is how come we got a literacy problem in America. There are so many people I see even on YouTube, and I be like, you illiterate as hell. I can point out a literacy just as quick. You can tell by the way sometimes people talking. I'm not talking about Ebonics. Where is the parent? My daughter reads to me every night. I read to her. I model one page and let her read the next page. Then I model the next page. Then I let her read. We got to continue reading to our children. We have to do it. They need to be reading to us. We have to do it. They get knowledge and they make sure that we make sure they're literate and get new language. I'm still learning new language constantly, new words, right? And so the school system failed her because it takes the school to tell her parents that she needs emotional support. Why the hell they didn't know that already? Well, they were too busy fighting and scuffling and having a broken home. And so the first thing is a broken marriage leads to broken children. I've witnessed that. Most of my kids had single mothers. Most of them, 90% of all my kids had single mothers. And when I would try to call their father and say, hey, and that's I'm sorry, I'm prejudiced. I would always, if I seen a number for a daddy, but most of the time I didn't see a daddy's number. Either the mama don't want him involved or don't know who he is. I would always call the dad. Oh, you acting a fool. Let me call your daddy first. Because daddy usually get things together. That's just the power of a father. And he'll be like, well, his mama or her mama let her do so and so, and I ain't got no power. Do you guys understand how disconcerting it is to hear a man say he don't have no power over the behavior of his children? I haven't, man, I used to shake in my boots with my father. The idea that I would do something wrong and he gonna find out. And he wasn't no abusive person. But I didn't want to disappoint him. That's the power of a father. When my daughter act up, I wish y'all I'm smart, I'm capable. I wish I had the power of a man. I do not. I've tried everything I can to get the same results he gets. All he got to do is look at her. Were you like, I mean, do you know that kind of stuff? What I'm talking about, where a child just can get a look from a father and it's different?
Oh yeah. Daddy much different than mama. Shit, you be screaming to the top of your lungs, and they will not care about nothing you over there saying or doing. And daddy just come in the room and all of a sudden act right here.
Just yeah, his presence. His presence alone is a deterrent from bullshit. A man's
Just
deterrent, a
like that
father with
school.
a
It was
huh?
a school. I can't remember what city it was in, but it was a school. The kids was acting a fool. They was fighting. They was doing all kind of stuff. And so they had a coalition of dads, and the dads come in and they patrol the highways and all of that. And all that bullshit stop.
I
So
know it did.
fathers are important. Children need
Child.
their daddies, even the girls.
Oh yes. Oh yes. The girl, yes, for girls have to have a daddy. I cannot tell you how many thousand different ways that daddy is important. He is the first teacher of a girl for her self-respect. He really is. Um, And I know, like, when I take my daughter to school, she starts this whiny thing. I don't want to go. I don't even think she means it. I just think it's kind of like, I just want to say this and get some emotional reaction. And I'm
Mm.
about ignoring poor behavior. I'm not going to feed you with attention if that's what you want. So I ignore it. And then she start growling and whining in the back seat. And I'm like, oh, no, man, we're having a happy day. We're going to have a happy day. I start with the positive stuff. And that sometimes just makes her angrier. And I'm like, oh, you want to call daddy? Let's tell daddy how you feeling today about school. Whole attitude change. And I say, let's call daddy. That's all I got to
Mhm.
do is mention, let's call daddy. And the attitude is different.
Hey, Burpee Uncle Yoga, how you doing? Thanks for coming through.
Yes. So the other part, did you hear when she said she had been pulled away from her grandmother and the love stability? What were your thoughts about that?
I think that's sad. And first of all, grandparents shouldn't be in a position to be having to give emotional stability to a child that they didn't birth. But it's sad when you not giving the child what they need, but then you take them away from the person that is giving it to them. Like, I think that's child abuse.
Yeah, definitely. That's emotional abuse. And you know what Eligio Bishop did? He snuck right back into that spot where grandmama used to be. So what we understand is that love is needed. And if it's not the love of protection, the true love of your family or people who really care about you, somebody else will masquerade something that looks like love or could be mistaken for love, and they will literally take your soul. Literally. That's crazy. Yeah, this girl's been through a lot, and she learned a lot of that toxicity. You actually see her play out the toxicity that between her mother and her father. She wasn't no actress. She was playing out the toxicity that she saw at home with Nature Boy. She became that married couple that's dysfunctional. We watched her do that. The yelling, the screaming. There was even one fight where they were having a fight. It was blood curdling. The fight. We only heard audio because they did not allow anybody to see it. But they recorded one of the most brutal fights between the two of them. And this girl is tiny. She's only like 5'2", but she is a feisty little something. She's in there going at it with him. He was pulling her hair and all this stuff. And at one point, he knocked the baby out of. They had a baby. He knocked the baby out of his arms. And that's when a lot of people really took a issue with this cult and started calling the authorities on them. So yeah, they people reenact the stuff. So when we think that children are not paying attention, they're picking up on all our toxicity. They pick up on all of it. If you're drinking and you're drunk, if you're on drugs, you know, all of that. They will repeat it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Let's see what else you say.
Okay.
To the point where there was a pep rally. We had a pep rally, and all of the 12th graders had to like express where they wanted to go to school and say the commitment. And I told in front of everybody, the whole audience, I'm like, look, I'm not dedicated to any college, but I want to further my skills and my profession in agriculture. Right there, the same day, there was a Tuskegee alumni, and he actually gave me a scholarship to go to Tuskegee University. Right there, then in that day, they enrolled me in the college, got in a HBCU, and I pushed myself forward to go to school. My mom actually supported me and drove me to school. And that's when I started my agricultural education. And I was passing flying colors. Math, not good at math. That's not a good subject for me. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. So I was failing at math, and I was also failing at history because I knew that they were lying. I didn't know why. I didn't know how.
Right.
But I knew that they were lying and I couldn't retain it. And I'm the type of person, if I can't retain something, I'm not doing it. And I didn't know at the time that you could drop out, you could drop classes and pick up new classes. So I just dropped out completely. But this was upon my discovery of carbonation on Facebook, all the children on internet. So while I'm in college, studying agriculture, I'm on Facebook, on the feed, looking at agricultural stuff. And this carbonation popped up.
Yeah, what are you seeing?
At the moment, it was of Nature Boy, and he was on the live with Yaya at the time, his wife at the time, and they were talking about living in tune with nature, being vegan, why it's important to, disconnect yourself from certain things. I didn't look at it as too extreme, because for me personally, that was something I was already doing without the influence of Nature Boy. So I was like, wow, so I clicked on his page, and that spurred me to, research a little bit. And that's when I came into contact with the group, and I saw there was like profiles of different people who were in that same circle or culture or tribe or whatever. And I started going to look at everybody else's pages, and everybody else was like living it up in nature. Everybody was eating fruit. And not only were people think that they were just living out there, but what I saw was when I started studying these people that was in that group, they were giving knowledge behind why they were eating the fruit that they were eating, why they were living in tune with nature the way that they were, why they were disconnecting from Babylon, as they would say. Like, they were giving the information of why, instead of just like posting it like, yeah, eating fruit is great,
Right.
So, and I'm an information-based person, so that was cool to me, but I was very young also, so I never thought to like do background checks and like go look at him, like his past, I wasn't
Living in the moment.
And I'm already depressed with life. I'm like, bro, like this ain't even it. Like I'm in school, but I really don't want to be in school. I'm passing my classes, but it's draining to me, So at that particular moment, I'm like, wow, this would be nice. I never thought to like go out there or live with them, but I was like, it would be nice to live a life where I can actually see myself thrive and also become more knowledgeable about what it is that I actually want to do and pursue in my life. And so I got into contact with one of the members that were there that were connected to Nature Boy.
Queen, pause it real quick.
I reached out to them. But Nature Boy.
All right. Sis, look at this. This is a beautiful young girl. She's at the start of her life. Imagine if she had all the right options, all the right support. And somebody, somehow, people had already been telling her, you're talented, you're smart. Like she said, when she was in high school, she was involved. She had all the potential in the world. And I saw this in classrooms all the time. Smart kids, amazing Black kids. But everything about the environment, the family, and all of that was toxic, the poverty. The essence of that person was good. It was worthy. It was, and you watch this in young people, that it's the people who gave birth to them and the circumstances they gave birth to them that ruined them, that put holes in them, that ruined their souls. It's the people who brought them into the world. They should have had a fair chance, but they didn't get it because of their parent or parents, right? And so look at the fact that somebody along the way said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get you in school. I see something in you. You're passionate, young lady. I'm gonna get you a scholarship today. I'm gonna walk you through the door. Where was the follow-up for the parents? Where was the care and concern while she was in college? Why didn't somebody tell her? If you don't know, to ask if you don't know because you're young. Somebody in her family should have said, hey baby, how's school going? Oh, you're having a hard time? Let's see if we can talk, talk to your professors, give her some advice. Somebody should have said, oh, you don't have to drop all of your school and drop out. We'll find you an alternative class. You don't just fail, you try again. Or even if you fail, you keep it off your record. Where were the parents? Where was the knowledge? These folks is bringing children into the world and just unleashing them on the world and hoping for the best. We are not tadpoles. We have the most complicated brain and the most complicated society that we have to operate in. You cannot throw your children out like they're tadpoles and let them fend for themselves. Not in this world. Not Black and damn sure not female. You cannot do that. And this girl, she got done dirty. She got done dirty. Not only did her parents have enough nerve to have too many children, But that's 7 children. I think she said she was number 3 girl. 7 children that are wayward in this world only because of their parents, emotionally distraught and lost and confused. And this is how the girl ends up in the damn cult. Wanting to have a family, wanting to belong, wanting structure, wanting to be somebody great. That's fucked up. That's all I can say. Excuse my French.
I mean, it is messed up, but that's how a lot of people come in the world. But it's amazing to me how she keep getting failed at every turn. Cause that's one of the first things they told us when we went to college, that we could drop classes. So I don't know how she didn't know she could drop her classes. It's weird.
Yeah.
Me and Nature Boy had never had any type of interaction, at this point. And so it was a guy because he was the only person that I saw there that I could potentially have a connection with, whether it was platonic or romantic. So when we started talking, I was like asking him about his life. I'm asking, and this is what you do on the internet. You reach out to people, you connect, right? So this is what I'm doing. And one thing led to another. And astrology is big. So he's telling me his signs and this and that. And it seems like we have a lot in common. So our relationship evolved into a romantic relationship. Even still, it's about 2 weeks in, me and this guy is talking, still haven't talked to Nature Boy, still haven't really know who the leader is. I don't even know that there is a leader. I didn't even know none of that. But the guy, he's like, you have to go through Nature Boy. You have to talk to him first to come through. And I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, what do you mean talk to him? I'm talking to you. Like, we're together. Like, what do you mean? And so, lo and behold, underneath wraps, there was actually another member. It was the Yaya wife at the time. She actually, but I never made the correlation until I actually had to reach out to Nature Boy to get through to him to go or to come, right? Yaya, she messaged me some time, I think before I reached out to the guy, Omek or whatever. I think it was either a little bit before or after. I don't even remember, but she reached out to me and she was telling me how beautiful I was and, complimenting me in so many words. And so I'm like, okay, I get that all the time. So it's not like it's anything new to me. But I guess that was her way of starting a conversation. But if we don't have nothing to talk about, I'm not going to, fast forward. That was Nature Boy's incentive. He used her to message me to say I want to be I want you to be my wife. But her at the time, she never was into the wife dynamic. And throughout the story, you'll be able to get more just into the story of how it actually played out. But Yaya never was with it because of the emotional, verbal, and spiritual and physical abuse that he was doing behind closed doors at the time. So she never was like, I want you to be, she never did what he told her to do. She was just messaging me just to make it seem like she was trying. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, yeah. And so Nature Boy, I guess, after some time, I found out that it was some friction between him and Omek because Nature Boy wanted me to come, but he didn't want me to come because he wanted me to be with him, but I wanted to be with Omek. And it was a dynamic that I had no idea of. And Omek didn't either. So Nature Boy was doing a lot of stuff behind closed doors that nobody was aware about. So eventually, because I was so persistent and consistent with the relationship that I had from jump, Nature Boy was like, all right, cool, she can come. So I get there, I go there, I drop out of college, I go there. Because I'm failing college at this point.
Yeah, you're failing. And where are you going? Where are they at now?
They are in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, okay.
Yeah. And so I get there and there's we get to this restaurant. He takes us all out to eat. And there's this conversation about me being sure about what it is that I want. And if anybody knows Velvet or rather get the time to get to know me, you will know that I know what I want. I might not have certain details because I'm still young and I'm figuring it out and I'm perfecting my ideas as I go, but I know what I want. So I'm having this conversation with him in front of the tribe, in front of Omek, and he's like, you sure you want to be with Omek? You sure? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah.
Who's asking that?
Nature Boy. To me and Omek. He's asking me about Omek, are you sure you want to be with him? You sure you don't want to be with somebody else? You know, trying to like spin it like that. And I'm like, I said I wanted to be with Omek. I said I'm with Omek, and I'm currently with him. That's what it is. That's what it's gonna be. All right, cool, blah, blah, blah. We get it. You know, fast forward. I was never close enough to Nature Boy to know that he was physically and emotionally, verbally, and spiritually abusing the women that he was around. I was always with the guys. I was a guy. I was in the field going get fruit and bringing it back to the home so that we can eat fruit. I was going to the waterfalls, harnessing water with the guys and bringing it back. And now me and these guys, our dynamic was so cool to the point where I could be shirtless, topless, and these guys wouldn't even like look at me wrong or me feel like they was trying. That's how cool the dynamic was, right?
Queen.
In this situation.
Right.
So, but it was.
Yeah.
What in the whole hell is that?
I don't know what the hell going on.
I was shirtless with the guys. You know, this group had a very interesting sexual dynamic. It has evolved quite a lot. I never heard this before. That she had walked around without a shirt, just like she was a man. You know, that I had never heard of that before. That's
That's
interesting.
legal in New York.
Huh?
That's legal in New York.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, stop. You got to be joking.
No, it was a lady that petitioned for it, and so now you can walk around without a top in New York.
A woman?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yep. I don't know if anybody would actually do it, but yeah, women can be topless in New York.
I guess that is sexist if you think about it hard, because men can wear no shirt and it's acceptable, and women can't wear a shirt. I mean, they can't go shirtless. Um, that is sexist if we're just looking at it logically. What's the difference, right? But something about that
Right.
it don't sound right to me.
Ouch.
You know why I say that? Because Queen, when I was in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
I spent 3 months in Africa. And the first thing that bothered me the most when I was in Africa is I saw women walk around shirtless. Now they weren't doing it in like the public market and stuff, but a lot of people in their backyard, they do a lot of women do a lot of work in their backyard. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would see women washing clothes. I would see women wringing out clothes, hanging clothes. I would see women doing stuff with water, feeding gardens, all that type of stuff. So a lot of times they would have their baby on their back and they would have no shirt on, titties just everywhere, and they just working in the backyard. Now, because it's a Muslim community, you don't go out in public like that. But
Mm-hmm.
child, I saw so many titties in Africa, and I'm not talking about no tribal titties now. I ain't talking about that. I don't mean like a naked tribe. I just mean that when the women are really working, they take the damn shirt off. And titties to them are for breastfeeding. So they don't see nothing sexual about it and nobody looks. It was my dumb ass just stopping and looking like, oh my God. Oh my God. It was my Western ass. None of the men even, it's not sexual. So that's interesting. What do you think?
Mm, it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I don't think I would like a society, not in this Western culture, where women don't wear shirts like completely. I think we're too toxic of a community for that. Uh-oh, my earplugs is about to go out. Let me switch. I'm gonna switch. Go ahead, sis. I'm gonna switch earplugs. I'm listening.
Okay.
It started to get really tricky and weird because Nature Boy was like he was teaching us that we should do certain things like be topless, like be, open to being in relation with other people if it doesn't work out with the relationship you were currently in. There was always a massaging, like persuasive type of vibe going on when it came to that dynamic. So the relationship with me and Omek got really sticky because Nature Boy will pull both of us to the side and tell Omek one thing and tell me one thing. Like he'll tell Omek she doesn't really want to be with you, or she really likes me, or whatever the case may be, or she did this or she did that, or try to twist something and manipulate something to try to make it seem like I didn't want to be with him. And he would do it vice versa. He would tell me like, Omek doesn't want to be with you. He doesn't care about you. It was like that at an all-time high. So this relationship with me and Omek lasted for a duration of 9 months.
Oh, wow.
I humbly and honorably got out of that relationship with Omek because at that juncture of me breaking up with him, I knew that it wasn't going to work out. And the last thing that I'm into is leading people on. So I broke up with him.
You knew it was going to work out because of what?
Because of the dynamic between him, Nature Boy, me. Omek was also on the verge of like unraveling his mind from the cult. So like while he was unraveling his mind, I was raveling in.
Right. So Nature Boy, what he's saying, and I have to ask you is, are you intrigued with him and what he's saying based on his persuasion of what's going on? Like, hey, he's not liking you and you're not, it's saying to fit.
No.
So you're not, okay.
I'm completely looking at Nature Boy like, this is my father. This is a father figure. This is somebody, this guy, I'm 21. This guy's like 34, 35, 36. I'm not looking at no grown ass man. I'm young as fuck. I'm not looking at no man. You know what I'm saying? I'm wanting to be with somebody that's my age. I'm looking at myself as even a teenager. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not thinking about it like that. I'm not even thinking that he's trying to get with me because number one, I have no experience being social because I've always been in the home. I've always been around other kids. I've always been taking care of other kids. So my dynamic with being social is off, at this point. That's like one of my first real interactions outside of being in college. And I never really was social in college because everybody was doing shit that I didn't do. I didn't party. I didn't do the thing, that college kids. So moving forward, me and Omek, we get out of the relationship. He winds up leaving like the next day. And I decided to be on my own. And I said, I want to be single. And I want to, be solo. Nature Boy, on the other hand, when I tell you, bro, this nigga love bombed the shit out of me. I didn't even know what that was until
like the next day, or like Omek is leaving, and when you say love, like how quickly does he attack?
I break up with Omek. Like right now, I break up with Omek. 5 minutes later, like after me and Omek's done having a conversation, Nature Boy's like telling one of his wives or one of the women that's close to him, go tell her I like her cookies. Go tell her I like the scarf she's wearing. Go tell her I like the wrap she's wearing. Go tell her that she's doing good in the curriculum. Go, and these women are coming to me like, Nature Boy really likes you, like making it cool, making it a thing. And I'm like, I just got out of a relationship. In my mind, I'm like, I just got out of a relationship, I'm trying to focus on the knowledge because that's what I went there for. Regardless of me getting into a relationship with Omek at the initial point, the entire relationship that me and Omek had revolved around the knowledge. This nigga would literally teach me everything. And I would be like, I got that. I know that. I understand that. And if it was something that I didn't know, it was like being reminded because most of the information that's being talked about is something that is already innate inside of me, and which is why I want to be in nature in the first place. So with that being the case, moving forward and to fast forward just a little bit in the story, I wound up making the decision to be with Nature Boy because he's love bombing me so hard. I feel like I'm backed in a corner with like a guy being like, I love you. I want to be with you. I love you. I want to be. I'm like, okay, well, if you love me, all right, cool. Like, let's get together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's do it. Love. That's the honest truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do it. He's currently in a relationship, Nature Boy. He's currently in a relationship with 3 women. Those women from my understanding now, looking back, every woman that he's ever gotten with was never based off of any value. It was never based off of what that woman could have offered. It was never based off of having children with those women. It was strictly off of having sexual relations with them, just to sleep with them, just to experience them because of whatever fanatical fetish he has.
There was like a body, face, sexual tendencies. Like
yes.
What? Oh, okay.
That's what I feel with Nature Boy. You know, it had no substance. Any relationship he has ever gotten in had no substance. So when I got into that dynamic, I went into a polygamous relationship knowingly. Got into that dynamic. If you've ever watched me on my own blossom and grow without the drama, I'm a literal flower. I have so many skills and talents. I still have even unraveled within myself because of the drama, because of the chaos. So with that being the case, these women naturally felt intimidated because what I realized, and even within myself at some point in time, the reason why I was even able to be with Nature Boy was because of some type of low self-esteem that I had within myself, or trying to find love in all the wrong places, or, just not be confident within myself, like to exactly know, and then on another spin to it as well, is because of my lack of experience in the world as well. So I tied both of those together, but I said that to say this: those women, from what I've experienced, they didn't have no self-esteem. That's the truth. I was the woman in these situations in every single instance, from the woman that I got into it with in the first place, in the beginning of our relationship, to the motherfucking end. I was the one to tell these women, you're good at this. You obviously are doing it. You're good at that. Be happy with that. Hone into that. That is your gift. That is your skill. Stop trying to be like me. Stop trying to be like her. This is what you do. And when you're a collective, when you're a community, when you're a family, you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses, and you know your opponents, or not even opponents, but you know your family members, and you guys come together on your strengths and you guys work it out with your weaknesses. That's what you do.
So I have to ask you, do you feel like Carbonation and Nature Boy, just in general, Carbonation, that they pulled in women who had those weaknesses or who had those insecurities or who were weaker in a sense? Do you feel like that was the overall goal of the women that you've seen that was within the nation?
Yes. Yes, I do. I think Nature Boy thrived off the fact that he could reel in women.
There's a couple of things that come out of what she just said. One of the things that comes out of what she just said is self-esteem and purpose, like knowing you have value as a person, and then also that whole misogyny thing.
Yeah. Very much.
Yeah. That's one of the things I think that happens when I don't want to blame broken families for it, but I think when you don't see the male and female dynamic do the tango, when you don't get to witness that, you might see the same sex or opposite sex as a function. So I'll say, for example, like some kids that I could say I taught or observed, they probably just saw their mama as a function. She's a person who provides food. She's a person who goes to work. She's a person who gives me what I need. And that's about it. And I'm not saying these kids don't love their mama and know her personally, but I think that that's easier when you don't see a male female dynamic and you don't see a family dynamic. It's
Right.
easier to pigeonhole, yeah, it's easier to pigeonhole the opposite sex if all they do is this, or the same sex, all they do is this. It's so easy compared to a family where everybody has a purpose and a function. Dad is a disciplinarian, mom and a provider, mom is a provider, and mom is a nutritionist. And, we all work together. We clean up together. We do yard work together. People have like collective value because they're part of a group. There's something unique about them and their identity. And it's not just relegated to like one or two things. You got kids that literally, when they get home from school, they don't see a parent until 6, 7 p.m. They don't know their parents, and the parents don't know the kids. And all they know is on the weekend or on Friday, my mama gonna take me, drop me at the mall, and give me some money for shoes and harass my dad for child support. That's all mom does. That whole family dynamic is like really detrimental. And I think that these cult members, they were all able to buy into this dysfunctional fake family tribe because they don't have a really solid family collective. They tried to recreate the collective, but it was so toxic. That's kind of what I'm seeing. And that one thing they did is they all bought into misogyny, the women and the men. They completely bought into misogyny. They said that all women need to do is have sex, have babies, cook, and listen to what a man says and be submissive. That's it. That's it.
Hmm. That's crazy. Of course, all of them come from bad backgrounds. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they created a toxic tribe of toxic people. I mean, I think it's a lesson to society, to black culture. Nature Boy is the first. Well, he's not the first of his type. There's what I'm talking about black. There was a Nuwabian.
There's been a
Yeah,
lot of them.
what other ones? Tell me, because I'm not familiar.
Before Nature Boy was King Noble had a thing, a lot of them country people got caught.
But cults where they actually like tell people they have to stay with them and be under complete control. All of this, like this.
Yeah. A lot of times they dissipate before the law gets involved. There's a lot of them that be having coats. They even got females that lead coats.
Wow, because I'm not familiar with any of them other than the Nuwabians. I don't doubt that they're there, but you know what I'm saying? It's like not common knowledge for me. I can't think. I heard the Hebrew Israelites in New York. They had some kind of group that was similar to a cult, but it was supposed to be under Hebrew law or something, Black Hebrews. So these other cults you're talking about, were they land based or outside the United States?
No, they in the United States.
Wow. But I think Nature Boy, I could say this. He's the first one maybe to have a massive open following to the global public, available through social media. That I would
No.
say Fabians had that. They kind of had it. But which one is actually on social media and it's well known? Like anybody can tap into it, like on YouTube. Which
All them people got coats. Nature Boy just happened to become popular. Over there in that consciousness sector, it's a whole bunch of people with coats.
in the consciousness section. Okay.
Probably other places on social media. People start a cult off of anything.
Yeah, I've seen a couple pop up that were imitations, like very similar. Not that they were trying to be Nature Boy. They had one in south of Atlanta. There's some guy, somebody turned up dead from that cult group, and they were all homeless kids, black homeless kids, and all of them want to be super smart. You know, that's their whole thing. I know better than the world. And that seems to be the trend is that we know something the rest of the world doesn't know. The rest of the world is fooled, but we're the only ones who really know. And this whole Matrix movie, oh my God, it's so horrible how that Matrix movie has made people try to create philosophies and religions and cults off of it. It's really crazy.
Yep,
But yeah,
everybody want to be special.
uh-huh. That's why I say motherfuckers need to just get with being average. If people would just I cannot express that enough. If people can just be okay with being average, the whole world would have a revolution. Just stop this shit. We don't have to have the Lamborghini. We don't have to want the Lamborghini. We don't have to have red bottom shoes. We don't have to be the baddest bitch, the boss bitch. We don't have to do all of that. Like we could just be average people. We don't have to live up to these grandiose expectations and People killing themselves trying to be something that's just out of their realm of possibility. And it creates low self esteem, like what she's going through. You know, that's a form of emotional damage too. Keep telling somebody, drilling them on social media, drilling them in magazines, drilling them everywhere they go. You showing them how they're supposed to be. And you got young people, they think they believe that. They don't even know that average is okay anymore. They think they're all supposed to be, well known and famous. That's the goal of life. But don't nobody know you. Well, they're not supposed to. There was a life before the damn internet. The people who know you are the people who grew up with you, your neighbors, the people you go to. That's normal. This online shit is not normal. That's your identity. That's not normal. They don't know. They don't know yet.
Yeah, it's a lot of people like that.
But you know what? It's sad if you got people in Generation X that's like that. Because we grew up in a time where there was no internet. And we knew what it was to only have an in-person identity. We knew what that was.
Yeah.
And so many of us in Generation X that's falling into that, you looking at a real weak ass fool. That's all I can say. A real weak ass fool.
Yep, it is absolutely crazy out here.
Mm-hmm.
See. All right.
Who didn't see their own self-worth, because for a mind like his, those type of men with those personality characteristics, they target women who have come from broken families, who have daddy issues, who have mommy issues, who have childhood trauma, who, it's that's easy prey. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And so I don't look down upon any of these women because of their weaknesses, because I have mine too. My thing was coming out of our weaknesses and knowing our strengths. But because I've already realized some of my strengths coming into carbonation, those women were intimidated because I was already naturally in my strengths. I'm doing it. I'm being it. I'm actively living it. So those women exited the relationship. They couldn't handle. And because I was me, Nature Boy was falling in love with me. He didn't want to fall in love with me. He fell in love with me because I am who I am. He fell in love with who I was, And then on another note, fell in love with an idea of who he thought he could turn me into. See, which he didn't know that he could never turn me into the person who he thought he could. But those women left the relationship. I was still there for them. I didn't make fun of them. I never made them feel like shit or anything like that. I just kept it moving, But for some reason, Nature Boy, always had the mind and the idea and the heart to want to turn these women against each other. Not even towards me, but to each other. And so he would talk to each woman individually, have sex with them, and pour into them like great things, and then tell the next woman she ain't shit. And then so the next one would be in competition with the other women, and then the other woman is just messy and chaotic.
So I have to ask, let's just get perspective. You were in carbonation for how long? Let's just say.
About the same amount of time, about like 4 years, from 2017 to 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say this. You end up becoming Nature Boy's main, I guess you could say, wife. And is that wife on paper, or is it just wife?
This is wife in real life.
Like
this
wife in real life. Like there's a ceremony, or there's a how does it work? Like
I could tell you the story. So fast forwarding. After those women left, it was me and Nature Boy in a monogamous relationship for an extended amount of time. That's where he got me really open to like trust him and like have the idea to be polygamous with him and take on new wives. So as we were going through that process over time, I started to like allow these women to come in, but I never had to say so. I never got to choose these women. I never really got a chance to know these women prior to coming into the relationship. So I was always at odds with him. And so that turned really physically abusive. So because he didn't want me to leave and he didn't want me to like have my own things and be my own person, he would confiscate my passport, all my documentation, all my identification. He would take it. So over the years, fast forward to 2020, I believe that was 2020. Over the course of all these years, he had my documentation. And one day he came to me with my documentation confiscated all the way over there somewhere. I don't know where it is. Wow. He comes to me one day and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna marry you." After 3 years of talking to me about why marriage isn't important, why we shouldn't get married, why it is, denouncing spirituality. And I'm like, you want to marry me? For real?
Wow.
And in my mind, I'm planning my escape. This is in 2020. April of 2020. I didn't successfully escape until November of 2020.
COVID just hit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's telling me this, and I'm like, but wait, what about knowledge? I'm like, we can't get married. That goes against everything you just said. That goes against everything. So I'm trying to talk him out of his idea. He's like, no, because if I get into trouble, if I get into this or I get into that, you can get me out. You'll take the flag for whatever it is that I'm doing. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get away before this nigga marry me.
Play versus.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He said this to me, and then the next day he comes to me and he's like, we're just gonna make it a group thing. I'm gonna get them married. 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 And I'm like, this is a total fucking disaster.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go back. You mentioned before the abuse. You got with Nature Boy. I have to ask you, when did the abuse start and what was that abuse early on?
The abuse started when I was about 3-4 months pregnant.
How far in the relationship were you pregnant? Like, I know you said 4 years overall, but how far were you into?
I was about a year, maybe 2-3 months in the actual situation. Like a year and 3 months. Yes, in the actual situation.
9 months, you're no longer with the first situation. Now you're with Nature Boy, and that's it happening. So about a few months, within a year after being with Nature Boy, you're pregnant now.
Yeah.
And you're 3 months pregnant. And like if you could talk about the first instance where you felt like, what's going on?
Well, at this point, when I realized, because at first I didn't realize it, because he was never physical. Like at first, when it first started, the abuse first started, he was never physical. He was always emotional and verbal. But I never looked at that as abuse because I come from that. I grew up with that. That became a normal thing in my mind. So one day we was living in Belize, and it was a situation where a woman came, the girl Kendra, Sheba, she came to Belize, and he wanted to be in a relationship with her, and I said no, and I was completely against it. She was a virgin at this time, and he wanted to take her virginity, and he told me that he wanted to do that, and I was like, no, you're not doing that, not on my watch. And he physically abused me right then and there, and this was about 3-4 months pregnant, and from that initial moment, it was all he wrote, rather, and that's when I started experiencing physical abuse from him.
So, but I have to ask you, what was your reaction to that physical abuse? Because sometimes in relationships, based on how you react is how things will continue or carry on. What was your initial reaction upon that initial situation?
I was fighting his ass back. Like, we was fighting. So this led to him being more extreme. Like, you hypothetically speaking, you physically abuse somebody and they back down, you're not going to abuse them because they backing down unless you're a real psychotic person and want to abuse that. But that wasn't the case. He physically abused me to a small degree. And I was like, you ain't gonna hit me, period. Like, so I'm fighting him. Like, we fighting. But now he's choking me up because he need to get me to stop trying to fight him back. Now he's like trying to exile me from existence because I'm trying to fight him back. So in my mind, and at this juncture still has my documents confiscated all the way over there somewhere where I don't know.
Queen,
Yeah.
what you thinking? What you thinking?
I think why she married him? Because she was trying to escape.
Yeah. One of the things that Nature Boy did that I've noticed is he did a lot of love bombing. He was very good at like worshiping you all the way up. You know what I mean? And then when the time comes when you don't, or if your self-esteem or your independence gets too high. Okay. If your self-esteem gets too high, you become too independent. Like there's been times when somebody would be like getting out the car and they're like walking towards the store, and they're just feeling good, so they start walking towards the store. He's like, "Nigga, get back over here. Do you run this? I run this tribe. You wait till I say go." So any little thing that a person might do that's just pretty normal, like independent, he would nut up. So he didn't allow people to get high self-esteem, and any kind of the love bombing had its limit. So he would use that love bombing. You're so amazing. You're this, you're that. He'd go on and on with the poetry and the upliftment. But at whatever moment where you got to be too much, in his opinion, or you seemed happy, just even being happy or satisfied, or you hadn't been abused in a while, just for GP, he'd be like, "Y'all, you see this demon?" And he would demonize you, and everybody standing around co-signing that you're a demon, and you're evil, and you're this, and you're that. And everybody would go along with it. And even in that same moment, if he turned around and love bombed you again, they'd be like, "Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true." It literally was like group think. But one of the things that came to my mind was if the father was acting in his role as a father. Because to me, I think you should raise your daughters particularly to seek guidance from you at every stage of their lives. I think. And before a woman is allowing access to a man, especially somebody as old as he was, she should have been taught you need to run this by your father, even after you out of the house, because the wisdom of the father don't stop. You know,
Right.
she should have been trained that let me check with my family, let me check particularly with my father. Let my father meet this person. Now, her father recognizes the error of his ways. God bless his soul, Mr. Marquis. They call him Papa Marquis. Um, he did end up showing up for his daughter, but you could tell that he was dealing with the consequences of not having protected his daughter. He tried to, though. He tried to. It's just that her mind was gone by then. And I
Yeah.
remember you saw that.
No, I didn't follow him. When he started doing all this stuff, I didn't. I was like, oh, he's crazy, and now he's a full blown popular cult leader. That's pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yes, child. Her father got his money together, and he had the new stepmom. The two of them came to, I believe it was Mexico, unannounced, unexpected, and they actually somehow, I don't know how, but they found them on the street. They was walking and doing shopping, and the father confronted him. He came down there because he saw his daughter being abused online.
Mm-hmm.
And he had called and he tried to talk to her and all of that. He constantly was trying to talk to her. He came in person and he tried to tell her she can come home. And he tried so hard. And I honestly, as a daughter, I don't know how she could have walked away from her dad. I don't know how she could have done that. She said, "This is my husband now," and blah, blah, blah. In my personal opinion, I feel like a father should be the gatekeeper to a daughter, a protector to the daughter. And if daddy don't say that this man is okay, I would walk away, me personally. I just don't think you allow access to your daughter. And I know it's difficult when you're older, but that's why you got to teach a daughter to care about what her father thinks. That she should want his blessing on a relationship. But he should also be saying, you don't need to live with this fool if you're not married to him, because he has no responsibility to you at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he denied her father his duties, and he failed to have his duties towards his daughter. And so again, we see the breakdown in the family. And this girl, Velvet, Eliana, at this time she has three different children, I believe, by three different men. And she still doesn't have any formal education or career. She's kind of just floating around on the internet trying to hustle up money. So she's still lost, and it's kind of sad when you think about that those scenes where her dad is telling her, "I can't walk away from my dad. Me personally, I cannot not listen to my dad. I can't do it. I don't know how to disobey my dad. Even I'm 45. If my dad told me something today, I would go with it.
Yeah.
You know, So that's interesting. The love bombing.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, okay, how can I not be in a situation where I'm gonna get strangled and not get abused? So it always turned into me doing what he wanted me to do, but I could never get with it. So it will always be physical, and then ending in him choking me out and blacking out, and then waking up and being like, I still don't have my documentation. I'm 5 months pregnant now. I'm 6 months pregnant now. I'm 7 months pregnant now. Still don't have my documentation. I'm 7 months pregnant now. I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm having a baby now. I still don't have my documentation. How the fuck I'm gonna get? How I'm gonna leave? Still, also while not wanting to do this, so I'll just back down and be like, you know what? Fuck everybody. I don't even care. But my body is shutting down. I'm shutting down. So he's angry with me because I can't physically perform with him or be with him. So he's forcing me at this point with the women, without the women, and I'm sitting there like, I want to leave. So I'm going through this tug of war online because he's recording me, making it seem like to the world that I'm just crazy and I don't really know what I want. But he's got all my shit confiscated. We in the middle of nowhere in a foreign country. I'm pregnant. I have no communication with my family for almost 2 years at this point. You know, so I'm just like, this was in the beginning though. You know, after I had Eliana, that's when I started thinking about, I really want the father, you know, because I'm not thinking, as I'm having her, I'm not thinking that he's actually like crazy. I'm not thinking like this man would try to do anything to destroy me. I'm not thinking like, I'm thinking that he's just coming from trauma just like me. And I have to give him grace. I have to love him through his pain. I have to love him through his trauma. And that was one of his big things too. Like, you have to stay by your black man's side. You can't leave him. You can't give up on him. You got to go through some things to, you know, love doesn't come easy. And I'm in one of those states and I'm like, I'm considering, you know, considering him, considering Ellie. So I'm putting myself on the back burner and taking on things that I shouldn't necessarily have to because I want him to be better. And I also want a future for my child that I technically never had as a child. I'm fighting for that. So I'll stay in a relationship. When I did have a chance to get my documentation, I did leave. But the only reason why I went back 3 times.
To Ohio, were you leaving to?
Well, over the time span of 4 years, I left maybe about 3 times, and then I went back. Yeah. And the only reason why I went back was because Nature Boy would get me on the phone, and he would be like, I'm gonna not be in this polygamous relationships anymore. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna do what we have to do to heal from our traumas. You know, sweet talking me, wooing me, you know, being romantic, doing all the things that he can to get me back in his presence. And I'm like, he's already father of my child. I want to make it work for the sake of my child. So I'm like, all right, cool. Every single time I went back, within a matter of 2 weeks, we was already in a polygamous relationship. He was already physically abusing me. So I'm like, now the first 2 times I left and I went back, I never calculated in my mind that he would do it again. I'm not thinking that he's going to do it. I'm thinking that we're going to get better. I'm banking on the fact that we're going to get better. We're going to start healing. Man, that third time I went back, the amount of physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional distress that I went through, that was it.
Can you speak on one of the worst times that you kind of dealt with? Like
the last time, November, from November of 2020, we were in California, I believe, because we kept getting deported from Costa Rica. We got deported from Costa Rica. We got deported from Mexico. So we would end up back in the States. We were in Las Vegas at the time because we did get married. And he bought me a van because one of my biggest dreams in life was to always be a van lifer. And so he bought me a van to, you know, use that against me. And he drove me in this van back to Mexico. And once we got to Mexico, he decided that we were going to go move to Puerto Rico. And I'm trying to escape the whole time. Like, I'm trying to plan my exodus. So we wind up in Puerto Rico. Fast forward, we wind up in Puerto Rico. And the physical abuse went up a notch. Like him strangling me out has turned into like holding my neck longer, like no oxygen, like hitting me in my face, bust lips, bruise. I'm actually kept away from the tribe and from other people because my face is messed up. And he doesn't want other people to see that because he don't want them to think like he's bad or anything like that. So I'm kept away most of the time. So I'm like, okay. And I'm back in a situation where my documentation is gone. Physical abuse went up a notch. Now I got to play a mastermind game. How do you play a mastermind game when you're not when you don't use things to your advantage to get what you want? So I'm like, okay, the best thing that I can do in this situation is allow everything to happen. Do all the sexual experience, actually encourage it. Encourage him being with other women. Encourage these women coming in. Encourage these women leaving out. Being in it, I had to sacrifice my own body to get me and my child out safely. So long story short, I'm doing everything he wanted me to do. This man is doing and saying things I ain't never heard him say or do ever in the entire experience. Within a matter of 2 months, I was blown away. You know how much self-control I needed to have to be able to get my documents. So long story short, when we traveled to Puerto Rico, we left the tribe. So he had to have my documentation in his presence. So I knew where it was. So every single moment I'm tracking my documentation, like, oh, it's right there. It's all right, cool. Y'all know you can hold it. I know you got it. You know, making everything cool, kosher. You know, we in the house in Puerto Rico. I'm making plush palettes. I'm like, come on, Anya, come on, Malia, come on. Yeah, let's have to. Now he's encouraging smoking and drinking now at this point. So I'm like, one night he's like, let's smoke. I'm like, yes, let's do it. I'm getting everybody drunk. I'm rolling the blunts. Let's get high. I'm lighting them bitches, but I'm acting like I'm smoking. And I'm passing it to them. I'm like, y'all, yeah, I'm making the drinks. I'm popping them open. I'm like, y'all want another drink? Let's get it. Let's have fun. Got the music blasting. He is going crazy. He has a whole bottle of Hennessy. This nigga done damn near drunk the whole bottle of Hennessy. He on social media, on Instagram, going crazy, like spit coming out his mouth. Like, I'm like, yo, look at this man turn into a fucking demon in front of me. And all of the other women just as oblivious. And I'm like, every single moment that I got to sneak away, I'm packing my things. Let me take this shirt. Oh, he coming. All right, cool. Like, yeah, we having fun. Yeah. Go back in the back, sneak some more things. I'm actually creating a whole situation. He don't know that I already got my passports on lock stash. Me and Ellie already got him. Already done put him. I already done came up and scoped out everywhere. I'm actually got the women outside with me, looking around while they thinking I'm engaging. I'm looking around at my surroundings. Oh, I can escape right there. I can leave right there. Fast forward into the night, they all fall asleep. I'm like, man, they not even about to get up. Everybody about to be hungover. My body naturally gets up at like 6:37. So I get up, and you know how you hungover, and it is not really until about maybe 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning when you in a hangover where you really start getting you really in a deep sleep and you start getting. So I go back to, I'm like, right now it's not the time. 6:30, 7 o'clock a.m. It's not the time. Let him sleep a little more. Let it marinate. So I lay back down. My body get up again at a natural timing. I leave Ellie on the pallet. I get up. I get my bag. And as I'm walking, there's a spot that I did not calculate because I couldn't see. A whole opening, the gate, because he always puts us in gets houses where there's gates around us so that we can't get out. This whole side of the fence is smashed over. I put my bag on the other side of the fence, go upstairs, get Ellie off the pallet. I got my harness sitting on the stairs. I'm putting my harness on, walking. As I'm walking down the steps, putting my baby in the harness, harnessing her to my back, no shoes on my feet, one bag, couple snacks, maybe some crackers and some nuts with some water. Walking in the middle of nowhere, don't speak no Spanish. I'm gone. I'm like, fuck all you. I take the phone that he gave me, all that. Give me that. That's mine. I take a couple monies on his wallet and everything. I'm like, that's mine. You know? So I get to where I gotta go. I
How
find
far are
this.
you walking?
This was like, I want to say about maybe 4 or 5 blocks. And then I find this opening where it's like this construction site. And I'm like, maybe I can get Wi-Fi right there. So I go try to get Wi-Fi. I'm literally like this with an infant. I'm like trying to get Wi-Fi, got Wi-Fi. Get in contact with a taxi company. I'm like, look, bro, I'm stranded. And now, how much is going to be to the airport? We 2 hours away from the airport. It's going to be $100. I'm like, look, I only got $40. He like, all right, I'm going to just come pick you up. He came pick me up, got to the airport. I deliberately told Nature Boy where I was because I wanted him to know that you were never gonna see me again, ever. So he comes to the airport while I'm there trying to woo me, trying to talk to me. I'm letting him have, I'm telling him everything I wish I would have ever told him in my life. Standing there at the airport, I'm just
He can't take you away.
He can't, because the police there, I'm making sure that everything is cool to the point where he can't do nothing. So the police wound up telling him to leave because he getting irate because I'm letting him have it. He wound up leaving. He like really can't believe that I said no. Like he really can't wrap his mind around it because I always go back and I always fall for his bullshit. Get on that plane. That was the last time he saw me. And I've moved forward with protection orders. I have a trail. I have a paper trail still to this day. Court hearings coming up in the next 2 weeks. Divorce, all of that to this day. This man can never be around me ever again or the child that we gave birth to, period. Ever.
So I have to ask you, from that moment to the moment of his arrest, how much time passes to when he's finally arrested? Would you say?
So if I escaped in November of 2020 and he got arrested in April of last year, that was 2022, then whatever.
I don't recall participating in watching this part about her like really getting away. I don't remember that because she left so many times. I just can't remember. But I tell you one thing, I'm proud of the girl. I'm really proud of her because she had so many times she would go and you'd be like, yes. And that's one of the things I learned about the cults is that you know, there's a psychological like hold they have on people. And you would think people when they get away, they would just say, I don't want no part of that. I'm going back, you know. But she went back each time, and so you know the guy skipped over that because he doesn't know her situation. But I have to tell you, she was powerful in that moment. The fact that she really, really got away and stayed away. That was big for her. It was really, really big. I'm proud of her. You know, she's got a long stretch ahead of her. Because that doesn't mean that just because she came out of the cult that she's got, you know, the correct self-esteem. But I'm proud of that girl. I'm really proud of her.
At least she got away. She don't sound like she no dummy.
Definitely.
However long that is. November, a couple months, no more than a year.
Upon his arrest, where are you at? What's your status upon your exodus? And when you see his arrest, just give me your mindset as far as seeing this and kind of like your thought process on him finally getting arrested and kind of where you're at in like at this moment.
I'm in Ohio. I lived in a DV shelter, a battered woman shelter for about 9-10 months prior to getting my first apartment ever. But I'm in my own apartment at this time.
Congrats.
I remember not having really where was I? I was in my second apartment. I had my second because I was like, it was so many opportunities for me. I was getting so much done. I was like being great and things like that. I was on my second apartment and I was in there and everybody just kept hitting me up like, he got arrested. I'm like, that's great. Now he can't fuck with me no more. Now he can't harass me no more. The cult members contact me in my inbox saying weird things. He would, people randomly who he knew would be harassing me, sending me death threats, sending me all kind of stuff. Bitch, you're a bad mom, like all kind of stuff. You name it, it was done to me from people that was affiliated with him. And so, yeah, I was like, great. As soon as I could, because the protection order was so hard for me to get, at that juncture of him being arrested, that was exactly what I needed. I took all of my evidence, all of my paperwork, everything that I needed, went to the courthouse in Ohio, presented it to the judge. I was granted a 5-year protection order right then and there.
I have to ask you. You said your body wouldn't function after giving birth and stuff like that. While being married to him, do you feel that you were raped or a rape victim while being with him?
Yes, because of the fact that when I would tell him no, and I would be so adamant about it, like for instance, this is a great example. It wasn't physically penetration, but it was oral, whatever. He put out 2 videos of me giving him head. In those particular videos, prior to that, both times, about 2 to 3 hours prior to that event happening, I'm literally arguing him down like, I don't want to do this. I'm not doing this. Because each instance, he's wanting me to give him head with another woman. And I'm like, bro, you are raggedy as fuck. Like, leave me alone. Like, how about you? I'm telling him, go get another woman. But he insists that it's me. Like, he wants it to be me. And I'm like, no. So he's verbally abusing me, physically abusing me, emotionally abusing me, spiritually, every type of abuse he's doing to me for 2 to 3 hours prior to him recording this video. So at some point, I'm like, I will never stop arguing with him. I have to do this because I will never stop arguing with him. So I'm like, fuck it, let me just get it over with so I can go on about my day. And also, I'm still each instant, I'm simultaneously planning my escape also at the same time.
Did it have it to a situation where I heard Nature Boy had situations where he was on OnlyFans, he was putting videos on Twitter, he was on Pornhub. Were you aware that he was putting these videos out online and like just like? I
didn't know. Actually, even the videos that he would take of me, I didn't know that he was like he would literally go to recruit women. He would use these videos as like bait. And like these women would watch whatever it was that he sent to them, even if it was a naked picture of me. And I caught him doing it one day because he never really allowed me in his phone. And if he did allow me in his phone, he would always delete things. So at this particular instance, I caught him doing it. And I told him, I said, listen, don't do that. Don't send naked videos and pictures out of me. I'm not comfortable with that. And he's like, all right, I'm not going to do it, blah, 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 blah. But just to fast forward and answer the question, no, I wasn't aware that he was doing these things. I didn't find out until somebody else told me that he was doing it. But I have never seen him put like a sex tape out of me. I don't know if it's out. Actually, I do. And even he lied about that. And that was back in Mexico. He leaked a sex tape of me and Sheba that he forced both of us to do. He forced me and Sheba to do that. Every sex, for me, I can't speak for these other women. For me, any sex tape that was leaked of me, he forced me to do, period. You know, but I didn't know that he was uploading it because he made it seem like other tribe members uploaded the video that was leaked of me. Now, the other 2 videos that he leaked of me, he deliberately did that after I escaped in November of 2020 because he was fucking mad because I was never coming back. And he had to tarnish and destroy me.
Did you ever feel like you're going to be able to testify in this trial? Are you planning on testifying in this trial? Do you plan on, have they reached out to you to even consider it?
They have reached out to me for evidence, but they have never reached out to me to say like to testify or anything like that. But if I ever have an opportunity, yeah. Like, you think I'm not? Like, I was there. No one knows that most of my physical abuse was because I was standing up for the fairness and the just of the situation for me and everybody else involved. I fought for Solar and Zoka's relationship. I fought for their baby. I fought for Sheba and True's relationship and their baby. I fought for Aya to have her own relationship. And this is when you see him recording me on camera with videos of yeah, it's Velvet's idea for everybody to be in monogamous relationships. I ain't never tell nobody to be with. Y'all be with who y'all want to be with. I'm just saying that what you think that I'm getting from Nature Boy is what you deserve. You deserve a man to love you wholeheartedly, and I deserve the same thing, period. And because Nature Boy didn't want that to be, he would physically abuse me because of it. And everybody's looking at me as a demon. Everybody's looking at me as the person that's in between them sleeping with Nature Boy. So I'm just like, fuck all y'all. I realized that I was fighting for something that I needed to be really fighting for myself.
I have to ask you, to even have Nature Boy's child, Elia, and even to have it overseas, is that like in a hospital? Like you going to Puerto? Like how was that experience as far as giving birth for the first time? Because again, you explained your upbringing. This is new to you.
Yeah.
To be able to give birth in another country.
Well, you know, honestly answering that question, the abuse was so intense that I actually. So when a woman is pregnant, I don't know if a man can know this or even if men like actually understand this. When a woman is pregnant, she is emotionally tied to her body. I mean, all people should be, men and women. Some people are more than others. But in this instant, I was detached emotionally from me, from my body, from my baby, from my needs. I was completely detached because I was so stressed out. When I actually was in the process of going into labor, giving birth, and I couldn't even experience it. The only thing that I experienced was excruciating pain, like to a degree that I still can't even really describe. It's not even a description or an adjective that I can use to describe it. It's just excruciating pain. And all I know is that it was almost like having an out-of-body experience, like kind of your body is just there and your mind is just gone. Like my mind, I couldn't even correlate how much pain. That's how much pain I was in. It was like over the top. Like it was something I was just like, fuck this, I'm gonna die right quick. Like, you know, and I gave birth to my child. Well, I actually had proceeded to get an epidural because it was so painful. Like, bro, it was so painful, bro. Lord have mercy. You know, she got poured out with forceps. I was so emotionally detached from my body that my body wasn't even responding to the pregnancy. My body wasn't doing the natural things that it should have been doing while I was in labor. So they had to pull her out because she was dying inside of me. And I was like quite literally dead. Like if they would have never gave me the epidural and pulled her out with forceps, me and her would not be here today.
Wow.
Straight like that.
Wow.
And that was pretty intense because the experience that I thought I was going to have and the experience that I wanted to have was the complete opposite. So that was pretty painful. Now that I'm able to process it, and now that I'm pregnant again, and I'm emotionally attached to myself, actually, I'm literally crying because I'm like, bro, I couldn't even.
This was not it. Yeah.
I'm processing it now. My daughter's 4 years old. I'm processing it now.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. You mentioned Solar. I'm just curious. You get out, you have your exodus, you escape. You have your other daughter,
Aviana.
Solar.
Mm-hmm.
How does he play into your life? How does he play into the picture? And how does he come into it? Y'all were there together. I'm assuming he left himself and you left yourself because your story doesn't involve Solar, which you're leaving.
Yeah.
But there was, I guess I don't want to call it Carbon Island, but the people who left Carbon Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Those people who all left or came, did what they did, left. You're part of one of those who are back in the States now. How are you and Solar coming together in this scenario, and how, like, what is that as far as coming together?
Mm-hmm. So for me, starting off with me, I was in prior to being with him or coming together with him, I was in a state where I was like strictly focused on self-love. I was strictly focused on healing, emotionally healing, womb healing, all of that. I was like going on, like, I was like damn near raw vegan. I was like extreme alkaline. And pouring into myself, pouring into my children. This is when he gives a description of my home being a temple or being like a church, because that's quite literally what I was doing. I was like praying every day. I'm like literally like, I gotta heal, And I was pouring so much into myself to the point where when you are on your healing journey, the trauma comes out. And so my platform has been an avenue that I have shared that trauma and poured and purged, my trauma through and on, for maybe to inspire other people to go through their healing journeys and not beat themselves up in the process. And it was at that juncture when I was like totally into myself. Me and Solar, we had a little connection, but that was only because of Nateri, because I was like considered her friend at the time. But one day there was like so much stuff going on, and like certain things didn't add up to me because Nateri Janae, she would tell me one thing and I would give her advice, and then she wouldn't take it, and I started realizing that she was lying about certain things about Solar. Like she would call me to talk about Solar to me, and I'm like, I really don't care. I'm not even interested in y'all's relationship. That don't have nothing to do with me. So everything hit the fan with them. They broke up. Everything hit the fan, and for me, when I have a heart for something, when I feel something is not true, I'll act on it. I move on it. That's the place that I live from. So I reached out to Solar and I was like, you know what, bro, whatever's going on, I just hope you keep your head up. And I had that disposition with everybody who has ever left Carbonation because, hey, I come from Carbonation and I want the best for all of us at the end of the day. So, I reached out to him. I gave him my condolences for whatever it was that he went through. And I felt for his situation with the child and et cetera, because I also had my experiences with the child and things like that. And because I had a connection with Nateri, and because she was putting me into like a three-way whatever with them, I just felt the need to reach out to him, to give that condolences to him. That sparked off into our relationship. From that moment, we didn't initially be like, oh, maybe we should be together. It was more like we were expressing ourselves to each other. He would express all the things, and I'm like, bro, I get it. Like, I share these experiences, so I can only relate to you. And so that moment turned into another moment where we're opening more up and we're realizing that we have more in common than we do have differences. And so I'm like, I actually said it to him. I'm like, something like popped up in my mind, and I'm like,
Queen, what you think about that?
I'm trying to figure out how she got into a relationship with another cult member.
Right.
It sounds like some more foolishness to ensue.
Sound like some what?
Some more foolishness.
Yeah. All of these people are toxic. They're all toxic as hell. And so it's kind of like, especially once Nature Boy started getting a lot of pushback and he started losing control. I particularly remember certain cult members were leaving, and they were like defying odds to leave. Like one of them stole the damn truck, the whole vehicle, and got the hell on. And another one had took a whole bunch of money and got the hell on. And these were people who seemed like they were so like mentally enslaved that you would have not guessed that. Now, Nature Boy tried his best sometimes to hide when people would just break the hell out and leave his ass, but it started making some of them. There's another girl, Tori. She left. She had left and came back, I think, twice. But she has a kid with one of the guys who I forgot his name. Shaka is his name, and he seemed to be like mentally gone. These people were like worshipful of Nature Boy, and so I think they not only did they come broken, but they also had fear because they didn't know how to operate in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what job are you gonna go to? You didn't fucked up and not went to college. Now what? You know what I'm saying? They feel behind on the curve. They don't have a job. They don't have no way to really. It's like, okay, no. What if I leave and then I get here? They're codependent. What if I'm somebody here? Now, what if I go back home and I'm nobody and people clown me and I'm back in the real world? You still believe that whole thing about everybody else is evil and stupid and you're the only one with the knowledge. You want to hang on to that, but it only works in the tribe setting. You're not gonna talk none of that wisdom shit, none of that in the real world and get no respect. So they created a make believe world where they were powerful, but if you leave that world, you're not powerful. So a lot of them didn't want to let that go. I think that was ego. I think a lot of them had created a universe where they were smarter than everybody because they don't work. They beg online. They're smarter than everybody because they get to sit around and eat nuts and berries and shit, and everybody else is eating meat. And everything that everybody else is doing is no good. They're of the world and we're better than everybody. They didn't want to let that go. And so I think a lot of them, they found solace in each other. So that wasn't uncommon though for them to like go from one person to another. I remember Nature Boy wakes up one day and he'll be like, so and so, you're gonna be so and so's wife. And I mean he picks up on them so many times, which I thought was very strange. People naturally bond with who they bond with. For you to tell somebody to turn on their emotions and be in a relationship, that's unnatural. That's unnatural. A man's natural instinct and a woman's natural instinct for each other does not require a third party to tell them how to feel. Who the hell is you? That's just not natural. But see, he doesn't think that the natural bond between a man and a woman is possible anyway, because if we're honest, Nature Boy has an alternative sexuality. He doesn't really relate to women outside of them being objects. But the point I want to get to is the trauma bond, honey. That ain't nothing but a trauma bond. I see it in the manosphere too. It's trauma bonding. These people are bonding and they can't let go of their collective trauma, their dysfunction. So they say to themselves, well, hell, you just as toxic and fucked up as I am. So we might as well make it work. I mean, that's how I'm looking at them. But the last person I would want to be with, if I'm trying to heal, is a motherfucker that's crazy enough to be in a tribe like my ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Solar, he goes to Nateri, the one who got Nature Boy fucked up. He decided that he wanted to embody Nature Boy. And he was with her. And he was acting like a whole fool. He was drinking liquor. He was talking crazy, playing rap music, talking about he was a pimp. He had his own online meltdown. That's when Nature Boy had went to jail, I believe. A lot of them left. And I think there's only about 4 of them left, 4 or 5 left. I don't know who these other people are. Johnny come lately at the end. But mostly he only got 4 or 5 members that were left. And I think 4 of them are women. And they're still trauma bonding. Them 4 so-called wives that he's got, they're trauma bonding. And I don't know how long you think it's going to take them 4 women to recognize it's life and he ain't getting out, ain't no parole. What you think, please? How long you think it's going to take him?
Ain't gonna take. I don't know. How is they living?
I think the donations that they have been getting on Bigo, um, foods that have been supplying them money, I think that's about to come to a straight end. I can't see it. I can't see. There were people who had hope who would support Nature Boy before this life in prison with no parole. Before this, there was hope for them in their mind, probably. But now, he ain't never getting out. So the only thing you can do is put some money on his books. That's about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people are inclined to do that. You just want to feed a grown ass man who's already being fed in prison? Really? Okay. They're not going to fund these women the rest of their lives. They're going to have these heifers, these sorry ass heifers, they're going to have to get a job. They're going to have to go back to their family. They're going to have to immerse themselves back into the real world. And Ida is pathetic. She's about my age. He is about 45. She gonna have to get her. She has a child already. She gonna have to get her sorry ass a job. I think it'll take them about 3 months and realizing that nobody's gonna finance it. Um, I believe R. Kelly didn't his last girl leave him when she realized there wasn't no money. I believe. I think she left, went back home.
Oh, I thought both of them were still together. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if he has one left. I know one girl, the one that was looking like a boy. She returned back to her mother. Her mother had an intervention, and she went with her mother. And I think it was the other girl that's from Atlanta. I think she's living on her own, but she ain't all out there talking about he's my man, he's my man. R. Kelly's finances are so fucked up. So it's just a matter of time before all his money is gone and he ain't got no income. And she gonna realize it's a wrap. Girl, you better get you a job. Better get you a damn job. But yeah, these women, I think it's gonna take them probably about 6 months. After 6 months and the funds dry up, I mean, only thing they can do is go live in a tent. How long is that gonna last?
Unless
Who
people
wanna
want
live?
to keep watching these shows, they'll pay.
You said people want to do what?
If people want to keep watching their show, they'll pay.
Yeah, and I think that those women, I've seen what they do, and it's just like, four of them sitting together looking all pitiful like fake Muslims in a bunch of garb, complaining and crying about Nature Boy and how he ain't this. I think that shit'll get old. Just because of the nature of the internet, it's gonna be something more exciting, more interesting. Especially when there'll never be another Nature Boy stream. There is no hero. He's not gonna win. He's just locked up, and he's probably gonna go ahead and be the real gay man he is in there. I think the fantasies come to an end for all the sick ass audience he had. His sick ass supporters. They need to all go get some damn counseling, if you ask me. Because them some sick people. The people who would actually take their hard earned money. He's sitting there telling you on the stream that you a damn fool for working and you an idiot for having a job. Nobody should work. Well, hell, how can I get your donations in, fool? How you gonna eat if I don't work? It just didn't make sense. That's how you know he was dealing with some straight idiots. I would not spend my last dollar on no toxic shit like that. Them some sick people. Very sick. Extremely sick.
Mm-mm.
But that self esteem is that's important. I think we underestimate how important self esteem is to young people. Um, from an earliest age, my daughter does any little thing. I'm like, yay, good job, high five. When she does things wrong, good try again. I tell her every day how beautiful she is. I tell her how smart she is. I'm always praising her and recognizing all of her efforts. Um, it matters. It matters so much that people have confidence. You can move the world if you got confidence. But if you're walking around broken and disappointed and feeling like you just ain't enough and nothing you ever do will be anything, I mean, damn, ain't that the whole point of parenthood? Isn't that the fucking point? To
Yep.
raise a well-rounded person who is going to contribute something to the world. And in order for them to contribute something to the world, they have to be in good spirits. They have to be feeling worthy of something. They have to feel that they have something to contribute, that they matter. And if you don't, as a parent, give them a sense of belonging and purpose, you fucking fail. Just period. Fucking fail. That's just I ain't no parent, you know, expert. Please don't let me seem like I am. I am just a teacher who saw a lot of shit. I saw a lot of dysfunction. I saw more dysfunction than a damn social worker.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the impact on young people, particularly high school. I know what the shit looks like. Neglect, abuse, Just no guidance, no purpose. I know what that shit looks like, and it ain't that nice. And the only thing that say most of my students, I would say, is either an adult who gave them a lot of attention, or the military. Amazingly, the military. I have a lot of students that went to the military, and even though I'm not anti-military, but I don't like black folks to go into the military and get sent to the front line. I always told my students, get everything and get out the military. If you want to go, everything you can get out of the military. There's so many benefits to the military, but use the military. Don't let them use you. That's what I always told them. Use the military. Don't let them use you. And the only thing I mean by that, get your health insurance, get your teeth fixed, get your, you know what I'm saying? Get you a house, get you some investments. What's it called? Double A, NCAA, something. They got some kind of program where they give you loans, and they got a lot of stuff for the military people. And my father was an officer in the military. So the military gives you education. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of shit that you can get out of the military. Get all of it. That's what I would tell them. Get all of it. But the moment they try to send you on the front line to get your head blowed off, time to go. That's just Miss Freeman. You a grown man. You do what you got to do. But I won't throw my life away. Not for no white men who just want to fight Arabs. You know?
Yeah.
for no for no fucking reason. So that was always my advice to my students. I got a picture, I'm gonna post it, of one of my students that came to see me after about 3 years, and he's in his Marine outfit. Honey, when I tell you that brother was so tall and beautiful in his, let me see, it was, I think it's black pants and a navy blue pants and a black, he's a Marine, I believe. Black jacket and a white hat. Girl, he was so sharp. And his name is Andre. Andre was corny. He was cheesy. He was goofy. He couldn't have no discipline in his life. That boy, I tell you, he was rough. And he went to the military and came back. I couldn't believe it. Grown ass man. Grown ass man. I was so proud of him when he walked through my classroom with that outfit on. I didn't know what to do. That was a very proud moment.
Oh.
Yeah. No, they're different chickens. One is that dark one over there. That one is honey buff, and then this one is buffalo. She ate buffalo. Yeah, she ate buffalo. She probably eat 3 pieces of buffalo chicken. Hmm. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts, Queen? Queen. Sure. Queen, you there? Queen went away. She went to go do something. But yeah, I tell y'all, I really I enjoy teaching young people, and I feel like as a teacher, my most important goal. Queen, you back? No. I feel like my most important role was secondary to support parents and advocating for their kids, as well as self-esteem. You know, that self-esteem is everything. I don't care how dumb a kid is, how smart they are, how they test good or don't test good. I don't care about none of that. At the end of the day, if you don't feel good about yourself and you don't believe in yourself, or you think you're some kind of loser, you're gonna be limited in life just by that outlook. And that's pretty sad. If that's the difference that's gonna make the difference, that's gonna be sad. Self-esteem is important. If you don't do anything as a parent or a mentor or a teacher, just tell kids every day you can do this. Just tell somebody every time you see them you can do this. You got this. That shit goes a long fucking way. You got this. That matters to kids. It really does. You back, Queen?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we can do about last 10 minutes and then wrap it up, or what you think?
Uh. Yeah.
You all right, sis? You sound
I'm just.
campaign.
Yeah. I'm just sleepy.
like the way he was expressing himself, it came from such a real place. Like I felt the love that he had inside of him. Like I felt that, you know, and I was like, why am I feeling this? I don't feel like I'm supposed to be feeling this. Like, why am I feeling it? You know, because somebody can express themselves from their heart and you don't feel that love inside of you. But I felt it. And I was like, yeah, so I feel this. I acknowledged it. And he was like, no, maybe we shouldn't. You know, it was like one of those situations. He was like, nah, let's not jump the gun. Let's not, you know, let's just be. And I'm like, all right, cool. You're right. So we did. And then we just kept having conversation after conversation. And at some point we realized that our experiences lined up so interestingly that it was just like a no-brainer. It was like, it became a question. Are we supposed to be together?
Wow.
And so we kept sharing experiences with each other and it just got more intense and more intense and more intense. So we decided to come together. I'm like, I want to see you. I want to see you face to face. Because if I see you face to face, if I see you, then I know it's real.
I'm gonna know.
Yeah. When we saw each other face to face, we had on the same shoes. This was not planned. We had on the same shoes. We had on the same jacket. The same jacket. A jean jacket with fur on the collar. How in the fuck? Like where? So I'm looking at the synchronicity and the pattern. That don't just happen. So I'm like, mind you, I'm also considering his role that he played in my life without being in a romantic relationship with him. This man has gotten me everything that I needed before my pregnancy and after. He was taking care of me. Everything Nature Boy was supposed to be doing for me, he did from a distance, from afar.
Wow.
So I considered those things too, because I'm like, that's considerable. When you are going through things in life, you consider everything. You don't just consider one aspect just because, you know what I'm saying? So that was that or whatever. But we have had our down moments because there is so many odds and there's so many like disillusions and there's so many like outside influences and many people will have this certain like vision of me and they're like, she doesn't deserve love at all. And I'm like, what the fuck did I ever do to any of you bitches? I didn't do shit to nobody. I deserve love. I'm gonna give myself that, period. Like the world doesn't even like me loving myself because of this shit from carbonation.
So I have to ask you then, I seen a live video to where you were laying in Solar's lap and you were looking up at him and the way you were looking at him, I'm just curious, did you ever look at Eligio that way? Did you ever look at Nature Boy that way?
That's a very good question. I always get the question, was I ever in love with Nature Boy? Or am I in love with Nature Boy? I always get that question. For me, I feel that I fell in love with him. So when I looked at Solar,
just a quick comment. She's no longer with that guy Solar. They've been broke up. I just wanted to add that. So what she said was back then. They're not together now. That's all.
the way that I did in that video, I did look at Nature Boy in certain instances. And I feel like it was only because of the idea that I fell in love with. I don't think that love that I had was real, because when you're in love with an idea of something, that's not love. That's not real. You know, whether I knew it or not, that's not real. You know, so I feel like what I have with Solar is real. I feel like what we go through is real.
You just mentioned that you have, you're not pregnant. You said that, you know, and again, if no one caught whether they seen this interview or Solar's interview prior to this, you are now expecting a third child. And Solar, and you're now how many weeks pregnant?
7.
First and foremost, congratulations on just the journey that it takes to get to this point. Congratulations on the feeling and the euphoria of doing it the right way. You can't.
Yeah, I'm crying.
You can't pay for that.
I'm like crying.
Yeah, you can't
I don't even know.
You can't pay for that kind of joy. So definitely congratulations. Again, as we did interview Solar earlier, and we talked about the carbonation thing, we're just scratching the surface of what really went on throughout the whole thing. And to even have your story, there's many other stories to be told throughout that situation. But to even have you come here and be brave enough to be able to speak on the story and again speak so eloquently, you know, Velvet was a name that people would hear about, and then we will see you, but we don't understand the inner workings like an onion. You got to peel those layers back, and to be able to get these kind of layers, man, I'm just dumbfounded about just everything that you had to do to go through it. I was telling Solar, I'm like, man, your life should be a movie, but again, even your situation as far as raising your family at 11 years old, getting to leave the country, getting your passport, and just leaving school, that's a story in itself, and then what you experience afterwards. I can only commend you for even doing what you've done. I want to end with this, man. I'm just curious, man. Do you believe, or more so, what are your beliefs? Do you have faith? Do you believe in faith? Do you believe in fate? Do you believe in Illuminati? Do you believe, like, where do you land in the prospect of how things are supposed to go?
I believe in faith. That has been the trajectory of my life. That has been something that has always showed its face in my life, in any instant, even when I turned away from it. The way that I grew up was in a church, but it wasn't really the church that mattered to me. It was more so the connection and the relationship that I had with God. We have all of these different religions and we call God all of these different names, but there is one source, whether we like to know that or not or believe that or not. And so I have a relationship. I personally feel like I have a relationship with that source. And because I have had a relationship with that source, and I have been faithful in the knowing that the source will provide whatever it is that I need moving forward on my journey, whether I make the right decision, wrong decision, whatever decision, as long as I'm leaning into what my heart is saying and I'm having faith in what my heart is saying, that I will never be led astray. And I haven't. Even in instances where it seemed like, or it looked like I have always been led to greater things, better things, prosperous things. And I have literally saw God show up in my life. I have seen the Holy Trinity pop up in my life, and there's no denying that, period.
That's real.
And that's what I believe in.
I have to ask you.
Oh, and I believe in prayer. That's like super important.
No, hey, we all. I mean, well, we all. Mama D.
Mm-hmm.
As far as her situation in your overall story, where does it land? I'm just curious.
Mama Dia was the most beautiful person I ever met in my entire life. She was such a mother to me. When Mama Dia came into the picture, this was one of the moments where I was being physically abused at an all-time high. One of the most traumatic experiences. This was like, I think she was there at the time. I don't know if you guys heard the story where I cut my hair and stuff like that. At some point in carbonation, I cut my hair. It was like real toxic. But she came in at a very intense time of me being physically abused. And like I said, I was always pulled away from the group because of the scarring and the everything like that. So I was in a tower. Mama Dia would come to me with towels. She would come to me with clean linen. She would come to me with my food. She would come to me to conversate with me. I had no idea that she was going through what she was going through. I had no idea she even had a heart condition. I never had a conversation with her to get to know her. I didn't even know half of the people that was there, or their backstories, or their lives, or where they came from, or their hometowns.
You didn't want to know, or you just was put away from
it? I was just put away. And it was the relationship that me and Nature Boy had was so toxic that it revolved around the toxicity. Everybody revolved around the toxicity because I was always like, this ain't right. This is not right. And Nature Boy didn't want me to say that out loud. So he had to squash me. He had to shut me up in some kind of way, So one day I get up after having a meeting. We had a meeting. And I saw Mama Dia, and mind you, I'm not making emotional connections with the people of the tribe because I'm not with none of it. I don't even want to be there. Right. So one day I get up, and one of the guys at the time, they're like, Nature Boy, you got to come see this right now. And I get up, and I'm like, see what? I'm thinking it's normal. I'm thinking like, this shit is toxic as fuck. We see toxic shit all day, every day. Like, why we gotta? So I get up, lo and behold, it's Mama Dia in the tent. And I'm sitting there looking at her like, Nature Boy, what you gonna do? Like, I'm done. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm just standing there like.
Let's rewind a little bit. There's a story or rumor that with Mama Dia that Nature Boy suggested or told her to stop taking her meds that would have been able to prolong her life. Are you aware of the scenario in which that possibly could have been a situation, or do you know any details in with that at all? I don't, because of the fact that all the relationships that Nature Boy had with women, I was not in the midst of. I was not talking to anyone. I was locked away. I wasn't on social media either. And I wasn't even looking through messages to see if my family was contacting me. I wasn't looking for nothing. I'm like, just locked away. So the conversations that he would have with Mama Dia, that's what they would talk about. I don't know what they're talking about. And I wouldn't care to find out because he probably trying to fuck her. That's just honest from my perspective, because every other woman, he's trying to fuck them. But what I do know is the fact that he encouraged no medication prescription vibe for any and everybody. But I didn't know Mama Dia had a heart condition. I didn't know that she was taking medication for it. And I didn't know that was something that she needed to do. She actually came to me one day and she told me something like she had some pains or something, but I didn't know what to do for her or what to tell her because I didn't know her history. So I'm like, go ask Nature Boy. And so when she asked Nature Boy, when she went to Nature Boy, he told her to go ground. And she's like trying to confide in me. And I'm like, I don't know what you need. I can't give you what you need. Like, I literally don't know, So then at that point, that's when the story came out about how she had the heart condition and stuff like that. But because Nature Boy was so gun-ho on not having medication, not even vitamins, he banned books at one point in time. We couldn't even bring books. Oh, damn. Fahrenheit 451.
So she was telling us we were in a meeting at this juncture. She was telling everybody about the heart condition because he had wanted her to bring it up so that everybody would know about it. She was telling everybody about it, but she kept saying as she was telling the story, but I don't need it. I always take it from now, here and then. I don't really take it that much. I've always lived with it. I take it every now and then, but that's not something that I need to depend on. She literally was saying how her family wanted her to take it and that she didn't want to. So she isolated herself from her family because her family was trying to force her to take the medication. So we are all thinking, probably even Nature Boy at this juncture, that she didn't need it. Because she's doing everything not to take it, like in a sense. And
so when y'all go there and see her and you look at Nature Boy and say, what are we gonna do now? What is he gonna do? Like what
he didn't do anything. He completely passed the buck. Like he wanted to know what Solar was gonna do. He wanted to know what Key was gonna do. Were you there at the time? Yeah, natural. The guy he wanted to know what the other guys were gonna do about it. Wow. Because he didn't want to put his hand on it. He didn't want to have no type of affiliation with it. When nigga, you the cult member, you the cult leader. So he told the other guys basically came up with ideas, and whoever had the best idea, that's what they did.
Wow. So I'm about to ask you, Was Nature Boy homosexual?
Yes, I do believe that. Yes.
Did you ever catch him in homosexual acts?
Yes, I did.
Like
one day, we were living in Belize again, and one day he always like had this friend, but he like always downplayed the relationship to me with the friend. So I'm thinking of the guy friend is just a guy friend. I'm thinking he talking to his guy friend like guy friends. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
on some homie shit.
Right. Belize is a little different, but go ahead.
This is where the incident took place in Belize. And he's on the phone with the guy. He's on a video chat with the guy, and he walks out the tent away from me to talk to the guy. And usually he walks away from me to talk to people. And I never really thought of anything. I was pregnant at the time. I never thought of anything like that. Like he would be talking about whatever behind my back, whatever. So I just was like, okay, cool. Like you going to talk on the phone, whatever. And then I catch him. Like he thinks that I can't see him because he thinks I'm laying down in the tent. But something tells me to get up and look. So I'm looking and I'm looking. And I watch him pull his thing out and put the phone camera on it. And I know he's on the phone with the guy. And I'm like, nobody else don't see this? So he comes back in the tent and I'm like, were you just showing that guy your penis? And he's like, oh no, that's my friend. Da, 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 da. You know, really massaged it. And I'm like, okay, I let it go. He still has a relationship with this guy. So I'm like, this is getting weird. So now that I know that he has the relationship with the guy, he wants me to be a friend with the guy. So now I'm talking to the guy and I'm noticing that the guy is getting more flamboyant every single time I talk to him. This nigga started wearing foundation. This nigga got the motherfucking, I don't even wear that shit on my eyebrows. This nigga got the Jerry curl going on, the motherfucking gel. I'm like, about 2 years after, like me consistently having a relationship with the guy, whatever, Nature Boy stops talking to him out the blue. And I found out 2 years later that he stopped talking to the guy because the guy wanted to fly him out from wherever we were in the tropics to where he was to have sex with him or whatever for money. And this guy, the specific guy, used to send him money before he got into the car, before Nature Boy got into the carbonation thing. This guy used to send him money for sexual behavior, for sexual acts, and he would just send him money from when.
Well, he was gay before he started carbonation. That's funny as hell.
Yeah, he was a gay male stripper. So, I mean, we see that even like in the manosphere. We see men who, I would say, use women and this whole gender role crap as cover. Would you agree?
I ain't seen no black dude, so I can't.
You think they all have typical heterosexual tendencies?
I think most of them is.
Most of them are what?
Incels.
Okay. What the thing that I think is a little homoerotic is because they struggle so hard. They don't have a natural tendency. Like they're struggling. They appear to be struggling with women. You know what I mean? Like that natural tendency towards male female dynamics, whether they're super modern or traditional, they just seem to struggle. And I feel like that struggle is for a reason. It's for a reason. And some of them, one of the things I can say that I have seen two different occasions I know of that Portia Williams of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she talked about how she met her first husband, who was definitely gay. And one of the things that he did when he first met her is he sent his friend over to talk to her for him on his behalf. That's not natural. Men want to feel the energy of a woman, in my opinion. They don't send their homeboy. That's weak. That's weird. If you don't have enough gumption, enough balls to go up to a woman and approach her, look her in her eyes, and do all the natural things to connect with a woman, you got to get a proxy to do it. Something's weird about your sexuality, your relationship toward women. Um, Same thing with Eddie Long. I watched Eddie Long's wife talk about how she came in contact with him. Amazingly, they met online. You know, they met online, and then they had their first meeting. He came with his homeboy. I believe that's what she talked about. And again, it's another male proxy. That's not normal. Most men, they just approach the woman they're interested in. So I kind of see men who are struggling to be men as it relates to women. That's the part that throws me off. Because a man who is already in tune to what's natural for a man and a woman, they don't need no coaching. They don't need no classes. They got nature. They got natural instincts. And so many of these guys that's in these red pill spaces, they have to spend hours and hours and hours trying to figure out how to be a man, how to relate to women. And I just don't think that's natural or normal. And I'm not saying all of them are homosexuals, but I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be. Especially the older ones, you know.
Yeah,
You
you
been
probably right.
30 years on the fucking planet and you still struggling.
Yeah, you probably right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That dude
Yeah.
gay.
He
Seen
gay.
it.
But
She keep sleeping with him. She lucky she ain't got no disease.
well, they say that all of them got that package. They say it, but they ain't. But I think this was a good stream. What you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good. This is interesting.
Yeah, you picked some good content, really good content to review and react to. So, what are your final thoughts about the whole thing?
Well, he locked up now, so hopefully the rest of him get some therapy.
I hope so too. I hope so too. And for those who left, I'm really proud of them. And I really hope that, in addition to therapy, I hope that they don't allow themselves to get into situations, whether it's relationships or whatever. Hopefully, they can learn some self love and learn from their mistakes. And hopefully, other people will learn from Nature Boy and how important it is for young people to have structure, to have love, and have a purpose. You know, hopefully people will take that away from it. This was just a matter of young people who thought what they couldn't get from their home life, their family, their that foundation was never there. That's my thought. I just wish the best for them all, and I hope Nature Boy catches all kind of hell in jail. Bastard,
Okay.
low down bastard. But
Wait.
Queen, 2024, 2024. This is the year of justice and truth. That's all I can say.
Justice and who?
Truth.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
hopefully they all get some help and everybody be better.
Mhm.
And thank y'all for hanging out. We will see y'all next time.
Bye, y'all.